Good morning. Reform UK says it plans to slash £50 billion from the benefits bill.
Well, the party calls for a ban on foreign nationals claiming welfare, labelling the current system immoral.
Well, Reform UK is also pledging to cut disability benefits to the tune of £22 billion, with a new report finding that half of claimants would swap PIP for better support. We're asking this morning, is Reform's plan the bold action that Britain needs, or is it a recipe for pushing the most vulnerable to breaking point?
Yeah, stay tuned because we're going to be debating this very issue. Should the state ban migrants from claiming benefits?
Breaking news overnight, the Hollywood actress Hayden Panettiere, known for her roles in Nashville and Heroes, has died at the age of 36.
Also in the programme, planning rules are getting a shake-up as part of Housing Secretary Angela Rayner's bid to turbocharge house building. But would you live right next to a train station?
Is the hot weather fuelling an increase in criminality? Well, we're discussing that as new stop and search data reveals a surge in weapons and drugs on London streets this summer.
Residents in a small Welsh village say they feel blindsided by the decision to house asylum seekers in local new builds, despite the government's promise not to use newly built properties for migrant accommodation.
Could cutting the cost of parking in towns and cities unlock the great British high street's full potential? Well, locals in West Yorkshire certainly think so.
Parking going up, you know, 1 minute it's 50p, 60p, next minute it's £1.50.
The cost is excessive, you know, £1.50 for an hour, and you're never sure an hour's enough.
Quite a lot of shops and businesses have had to cut staff down.
And hooray, rain is finally on the way, but are we set for another heatwave in just a matter of weeks?
Heard there's a big change on the way? Find out if there's any rain in the forecast where you live in your full forecast coming up later.
And sport this morning, well, 2 more golds on the last night of the European Athletics Championship, with Amy Hunt claiming her 4th, and our friend Georgia Hunter-Bell easily winning the 1500 metres last night. Arsenal send out a warning after thrashing the pepless Manchester City in the Community Shield, and in cricket, the Trent Rockets and then the Manchester Super Giants have both won the 100.
Good morning, it's just gone 6 o'clock. I'm Ellie Costello.
And I'm Mark White. Welcome along to GB News Breakfast.
Oh, how scary was that alarm on Friday evening?
Oh,
7 p.m, prime time.
that's what it was designed to do, was to give you the heebie-jeebies, show you that the government is strong and in charge and looking after you. It's very cynical.
Where were you two when the alarm went off?
I was in the house. I was just watching the TV.
Watching GB
yeah,
News.
then... I mean, we were expecting it, but it still was a bit...
Hold on,
of a
you were
joke.
expecting it? I didn't know.
No, because it was on the news about half an hour before.
Oh, you got... Oh, I did... Well,
I had no
Well, I
forewarning.
do take an interest.
I know.
Very good.
So you're just sitting there going, waiting for it. And then even then, it still got you.
I still got a fright.
It still got you.
Well, I was having a nap, because after 5 days of 3 a.m, that's what you tend to do
Yeah.
on a Friday evening. So 7 p.m, though, I was having a nap on the sofa. My husband's 2 phones, his work phone, his personal phone, and my phone, were all on the coffee table. I was sleeping soundly, and then all 3 alarms went off.
Did
at
you
once.
think something
I
terrible?
thought, we're being nuked.
So
This is
that's
the
it,
end
you
of
do,
the
don't you?
world.
Well,
Yeah.
Tally Fraser from The Spectator's with us. Tally, come on, this is just so cynical, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that most people thought that the emergency alert system was for emergencies,
Like terrorist attacks.
imminent
Yeah.
threats that were happening right
Nuclear
now.
war, yeah.
Not about people's behaviour, which this was actually about. It wasn't that, like, oh, there's a wildfire in your area, watch out.
Don't
and you
use your
target it.
barbecues, people.
This is the thing. It's about
Mother
personal
knows best.
action. Like, how are we having a severe alert for that? I'm the same as you, Ellie. I was out with my mum and my sister having dinner, so I hadn't been on my phone and I hadn't seen that this was going to come. And I genuinely thought, oh my God, we would know if something else was coming. This must be a really
But were you in a
awful
restaurant?
attack
Did
on Ray.
everybody's go off at the same time? So
Everyone's
everybody's-
phone went off, and we all sort of looked around like, oh my God, what's happening? And then mine went off 3 times. My phone went off 3
Yeah, mine
times
went off
in
a
the
couple of
evening.
times, yeah.
And it's just, I think for personal behaviour, this is really odd. And I think a lot of people will have turned their alerts off after this.
Well, it devalues the system, doesn't it, when it's a message about barbecues?
I think the Cabinet Office have been worried before when they first sort of launched the scheme about not creating a boy who cried wolf effect and only using this for imminent threats. And I think this is exactly playing into what the Cabinet Office were worried
Exactly.
about.
So it's fine if we're in the midst of a borough market type marauding terror attack where they're saying shelter in place, don't move, don't go to that area. Perfectly understandable, but not to tell you to mind your barbecues.
Well, apparently Louise Hay signed it all off.
Oh, of
so let us know what you think on that one, gbnews.com/you'll say. We've got one in from Mochi this morning who says, we had a drop of rain last night. I nearly went out and took a photo.
Quick alarm.
Celebration.
Beep, beep, beep.
Yeah.
Rain on the way. Rain on the way. Oh, no.
Let us know what you think, everyone. Now, let's have a look at our top story this morning at 6:06. Reform UK has announced plans to ban foreign nationals from claiming almost all types of benefits if the party wins power.
Well, the proposal is part of a wider plan to cut more than £50 billion a year from the welfare bill. Reform says restricting benefit access for foreign nationals could save around £21 billion annually.
Well, in other news, the government is facing calls to publish the criteria for issuing emergency alerts, following our discussion that we've just had, and following criticism that the national wildfire warning was unnecessary.
Well, head of the Cabinet Office, Louise Hay, is understood to have signed off on the nationwide alert, which warned that barbecues and fireworks could start wildfires. Shocker.
Well, let's speak to commissioning editor and writer-at-large for The Spectator, Tully Fraser. Well, Tully, let's stay on that emergency warning that we all received on Friday evening, shall we? The government facing calls to publish the criteria for issuing emergency alerts. So clearly a sense that this wasn't necessary.
Yeah, I think most common sense thinking people will be wondering why on earth did that go out. Louise Hay, obviously Andy Burnham's deputy, closest ally, was the one who sent that off because she's in the Cabinet Office. And look, wildfires are undeniable. They're going to be an issue. But this wasn't, like I said, this wasn't about there is a wildfire in your area. Please stay safe or please move. You know, here are the instructions for how to look after yourself. This was, you know, please don't put a barbecue, a disposable barbecue out on parched land.
Yeah, it was health and safety messaging, which is just ridiculous.
It really is ridiculous, and because it's about personal behaviour. And what are we going to start getting severe alerts for now in the future? The rain's about to come. Please take your umbrellas out. Don't forget. Like,
well,
what's it?
It's a low bar, isn't it? Sadly, where we are. Can we move on to the reform policy with regard to benefits in particular, denying those to foreign national offenders? It seems it's another week, another policy that's going to really chime, I think, with many people around the country.
Well, I think the whole debate over the benefits bill has massively grown over the past couple of years, and I think the mood in the public it's pretty strong in terms of this cannot last, and also people are taking advantage of this. So with Reform's plan, they're proposing £50 billion worth of cuts. Robert Jenrick, their proposed Chancellor, and £21 billion of these would be from basically cutting foreign nationals out of the welfare system. It's big and it's bold. It means that Reform, should they get into government, would have to go and renegotiate with the EU over Brexit because this covers EU nationals with settled status. So that's where a lot of questions come in over, would Reform be able to do that? Because right now the agreement basically means that with us and the EU, we treat our citizens sort of the same on both sides. So if we look at removing EU nationals with settled status from the welfare system, then they might look to do that with British people who are living in the EU. So that's a whole area of renegotiation that would have to happen. But like you said, it might really chime with the public and feel like this is something that needs to be done.
Well, the government's already responding to this, essentially saying that this is plunging the UK back into Brexit spats, also saying that it could potentially strip support from potentially millions of people who've lawfully lived, worked and paid taxes in Britain for years.
Yeah, I think this is where the details come into it, basically. And actually, a lot of people that will come under this are people basically who have been working for years and who top up their sort of low pay with universal credit. It's very different to people who sort of aren't working at all and you know, you might call them scroungers, but it's very different. So do you want to be going after that and at the same time relaunching Brexit wars? Is that the best way of doing it? Or is the best way of looking at it going after the rest of their proposed cuts and actually making sure that people who could be working are working and having that as the priority?
I mean, I suppose briefly, one way around it, in the interim at least, is just to exclude the EU nationals from it, to ensure that all other foreign nationals do have their benefits removed. So at least you're making some significant savings, and you can put this sort of vexed question over renegotiating sort of parts of the EU agreement off until a later date.
Yeah, I think this is what Reform are going for. And obviously, they want to sort of claim this ground. Like £50 billion worth of cuts is huge. I mean, it's huge. And yet the welfare spend is so massive that it actually doesn't feel as big as it could be. Yeah. But I think the Tories are proposing something like £23 billion worth of cuts. So when you've got them next to each other, you know, this is a huge package. But it will be interesting to see what detail Robert Jenrick gives later today.
OK, Tali Fraser, thank you very much. We're going to see you again in the next hour. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tali.
Now, just coming up to 12 minutes past 6, let's take a look at some other stories coming into the newsroom on this Monday morning.
And breaking news this morning, Hollywood actress Hayden Panettiere, best known for her roles in Heroes in Nashville, has died aged just 36. A representative for the actress confirmed the death, saying she was an incredible light and a force of nature who brought immeasurable love and joy to all who knew her. The cause of death has not yet been announced.
GB News can reveal that an Eritrean man who was convicted of raping a pensioner outside of a North London church entered Britain illegally. The 33-year-old was found guilty by a jury at Harrow Crown Court after they viewed CCTV footage which captured the 20-minute attack.
Police have launched a murder inquiry after the death of a 55-year-old man who was bitten by a dog on a footpath in West Yorkshire. Another 55-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of murder and being the owner of a dangerously out-of-control dog. A German Shepherd, which is understood to have been the one involved in the incident, has been seized by police.
And Britain is set for cooler, more changeable weather this week, with rain and thunderstorms possible in parts of the country. The Met Office have warned the wetter conditions are unlikely to be significant enough to ease drought conditions.
Well, that is good news anyway. At least it's going to get a bit cooler, a bit wetter, but will it be the sustained wet weather that we need to sink into the ground and not just run off?
Is this the thing that the earth is so scorched now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so dry.
Yeah,
will it even be
dry,
able to trickle down?
Yeah, indeed.
Or will we get the flash flooding that we see so often after bouts of hot weather?
Yeah. We'll get a more detailed update now on your weather with Tom Morgan.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. Certainly a more changeable week of weather on the way out there this week. It's quite wet in some northern areas today. Southern areas will hold on to some sunshine for at least a while, but it will be turning more humid for all of us. So out there this morning, a few showers in the south and the southwest of England in particular. But for many parts of England and Wales and northeast Scotland, it will be a largely dry day. The best of the sunshine by this afternoon probably for parts of Wales, central, southern and southwestern parts of the UK. Turning quite wet though for Northern Ireland and western Scotland. The odd heavier burst of rain pushing in here through the afternoon. Quite a humid feel wherever you are out there this afternoon, and highs in the south, 26 to 28 degrees Celsius, so another very warm day, particularly in the sunnier areas. Now, out across northeastern parts of Scotland, it will be a lot fresher here. Quite a cool feeling day with temperatures a little bit below average for August, but actually there'll be plenty of sunny spells out there on Monday afternoon for Shetland and Orkney. Turning increasingly wet though for western Scotland, the central belt, as we head towards the rush hour. And for Northern Ireland, some heavy bursts of rain pushing in here as well, particularly through this evening. Mostly dry at this point across Wales and southern parts of England, so plenty of evening sunshine here. Just a small chance of a shower for southeastern England for a time. Now, through the course of tonight, the rain spreads its way northeastwards across Scotland and also southwards across England. So quite a wet night to come for many parts of the UK. The rain in the south quite showery, but several millimetres of rain possible in a few spots. So some welcome rain for the gardeners and the farmers. Look at these temperatures though, 15 to 18 degrees Celsius overnight, so quite a warm and humid start to Tuesday. Bit of uncertainty as to how quickly the rain clears away from southern England on Tuesday morning. It might just hang back a little bit longer than the graphics suggest at this stage. Northeastern Scotland will also stay fairly wet, particularly Shetland and Orkney. Otherwise, a mixture of sunny spells and scattered showers for northwestern areas, and mostly dry with hazy sunshine for parts of England and Wales. Not as warm as today, but still temperatures above average in the south, a cool and more blustery feel in the north.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, at 16 minutes past 6, stop and search in the capital is proving more effective than ever in uncovering criminality.
In July, 36% of stop and searches found weapons, drugs or other evidence of offending.
Well, let's talk to someone who knows a lot about stop and search, CEO of Communities Against Violence, Ken Hines. Very good morning to you, Ken. What's going on here? Do you think the hot weather plays a part in this, in fuelling criminality?
Well, Ellie, to tell the truth, I'm not quite sure what these figures really indicate, because figures without being in context doesn't mean much to me. As a person who's got to drill down into those figures, it concerns me that they're putting it out as though they're taking many more knives off the streets. We've got to understand a positive outcome does not really mean much against the fight about taking weapons off the streets or preventing violence or intimidation. That's the sort of things I'm looking for stop and search to actually have an impact on. These figures are 36% means, and possibly I would say that much of that figure is taken up by possibly low-level drug taking or drug possession for personal use. That's how it was. When I used to look up the figures, primarily it was weapons searches. That's what they found. They don't always find what they're looking for, but they found something else that they can call a positive outcome. It's concerning to me that in this situation, they've said that this is the highest number of positive outcome they've had. But what's the impact on the violence?
Yeah, I think you know, you've got a point there, Ken. A proportion of the stop and searches will be knives, but that's got to be welcomed. The other aspect of it is, you know, a positive outcome. You describe it as lower level drugs, but we know that cannabis, for instance, fuels a lot of the violence that we see on our streets at the moment just because of the profits that can be made from this drug. Surely, if anyone is involved in any kind of criminality, carrying drugs, other stolen goods or anything like that, it's positive that that's also being dealt with in these stops and searches, isn't it?
I disagree with that. The bulk of the violence and criminality comes from the use of alcohol that's involved, not so much cannabis or other drugs that they may be taking.
Not when you're talking about gang violence involving young people in the likes of inner city London, Ken. You know that's not being fueled by alcohol. That's being fueled by gang violence and a need to control the drugs in their area.
Again, I would disagree with that. I would say that the bulk of it is down to low self-esteem and around a mental health. That's driving most of the violence, because quite clearly when people are getting into action, if they don't know each other that to any degree, why get into the violence? There's got to be something else that's right. So I'm just saying, I would like to see these figures put in context. As a person who drills down these figures, my concern is that they're highlighting it for the wrong reason. It's misleading, because I'm about to say that when you get a professional and intelligent-led stop and search, things go well. But all too often, I deal with the other end, when people are being abused or being detained wrongly. The use of force have been excessive. They've been detained. These are the people that I have to interact with. And what we call it, when you get a bad stop and search, we refer to it as being stopped and scarred, because this leaves sometimes the victim a lifetime of trauma. And sometimes it also adds to greater violence, because that person who's been who feel they've been abused on stop and search, if they became a victim or they became a witness to a violent crime, they will not often go to the police. That's worrying. And not only that, because of that, they sometimes even bring the violence back to my community. And that's when we have to step in on the streets to de-escalate any confrontation or possible violence. So I'm saying to you, if they're going to do something, let's do it right. Why have they picked these figures? These are the highest positive outcomes for this type of operation. What operation brought this about? Was it an operation? Was it something to do with facial recognition? What was it to do with? Was it to do more stop and search? Without context of these figures, it is very misleading to the public. And the police can do better and need to do better when they're putting out these kind of sound bites.
OK, Ken Hines, I'm afraid we're out of time with you this morning, but thank you very much for joining us on GB News Breakfast.
I've spoken over the years to quite a few mothers whose teenage child has died as a result of knife crime, and black mothers, to be honest, and not one of them has said that they wish there was less stop and search. They all said that actually they wish that, you know, there'd been more stop and search, that the perpetrators had been stopped and searched.
And it could have saved their son's life.
Yeah.
Well, in response, the Met Police have said stop and search remains a vital tool in helping officers remove weapons from our streets, apprehend dangerous offenders and ultimately save lives. But it's also a tactic that must be used fairly, professionally and with the confidence of the communities that we serve.
Well, still to come later this hour, Reform UK MP Danny Krueger is telling us how his party plans to block migrants from accessing benefits.
But first, our reporter Anna Riley has been asking locals in West Yorkshire whether cuts to parking charges could help boost our high streets. More next.
Boom. They are under no illusion.
Ray,
Are you a human trafficker?
boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way.
You will not want to miss it, trust me. The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Welcome back to Breakfast. Now, you will have an opinion on this one. Is the key to unlocking the potential on Britain's high streets actually cutting parking charges?
Well, in Brighouse, West Yorkshire, traders are calling for the council to take action on parking costs, claiming the £1.50 charge per hour is turning locals away.
Well, our reporter Anna Riley has the story.
Curb the car parking charges. That's what shopkeepers are campaigning for in Brighouse. Traders in the West Yorkshire town have seen business blighted by roadworks here that affect access to shops. An action group's been set up with a petition for free parking until regeneration work is complete.
Quite a lot of shops and businesses have had to cut staff down. We've also had, unfortunately, 4 businesses that have closed or announced the closing in the last week or 2, and some are also struggling, as well with the impacts of it. So we just feel that we're trying to get a positive message to get some free parking, to advertise and promote that to customers to come into town and shop local and support the high street.
Just over the road, this family-run carpet store is also feeling the pinch.
Parking going up, 1 minute it's 50 pence, 60 pence, next minute it's £1.50, and that immediately changed when they started doing the roadworks. So I just feel like it has put a lot of people off coming into the town.
Parking charges were increased in Brighouse earlier this year. Some premium spaces in town saw a 400% rise, and shoppers here would welcome a price reduction.
The cost is excessive, £1.50 for an hour, and you're never sure an hour's enough. So finish up putting £3 in, I think is expensive and shouldn't be happening while they've got the roadworks on.
Cost is too much, £2 an hour. And if you walk through the car parks, they're empty. Everybody just parks in the supermarkets.
People are not coming into Brighouse anymore because they don't want to pay that money, which I don't blame them.
Calderdale Council are mindful of the impact the works are having, but say the 18-month scheme will boost the high street.
It's a multi-million-pound investment, and it's going to be partially pedestrianised the town centre. It's to reinvigorate the high street, draw more customers into Brighouse. It does serve a lot of the rural communities around here, but also enhance everything for the people who've already originally used it. It did start looking a bit tired, so this will help.
Wheels are in motion to review the parking charges within the next few weeks, and stores and their customers want to see a reduced fee. Anna Riley, GB News.
To park on my high street, my local shops, for an hour, it's £3.30. Which does make me think twice when I need to nip to the shops.
Yeah.
It's the cost of a coffee.
Yeah,
it's
a fair old whack. But the thing is, as well, it's obviously a big revenue earner for the councils. So if you then take that earning capacity away from them, what does that do? Is our council taxes going to go shooting up even more?
Even more than they already are, exactly. Let us know what you think. You will have a view, gbnews.com/yoursay.
Well, stay tuned. We're joined by the legendary James Rampton and the even more legendary Christoph Ufas to go through the papers next.
Yeah, but first, here's your traffic and travel update.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M16 to 15 is closed at Stoke-on-Trent after a collision. The A3 is closed after the A245. The M27 is closed at Junction 2 in Romsey due to fire. The M1 northbound has an obstruction between junctions 16 and 17 in Daventry. Across Wales, the A44 from Aberystwyth to Llanbadarn is closed. And on the trains, Greater Anglia has major disruption between Shenfield and Southend Victoria, with further disruption between Witham and Chelmsford. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
the Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
Because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's Tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong Tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to
stop.
You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at some of the newspaper front pages on this Monday morning.
Firstly, in The Sun, it's been revealed that Henry Novak's killer will be allowed prison-to-prison video calls with his mum. Their headline reads, "Call this justice."
On the front page of the Daily Mail, ministers are under pressure to close a legal loophole allowing sex offenders to change their identity. It's after a paedophile fireman used as many as 20 aliases to conceal a string of convictions.
In the Daily Express, a leading charity has urged people living with early-stage dementia to take part in clinical trials as scientists hail a golden era of research.
Finally, in the Metro, campaigners have hit out at government-backed plans to allow water companies to raise their prices during droughts. That's after one of the driest summers on record.
Well, joining us to go through what's making the news is journalist and broadcaster Christo Fufas and political commentator James Rampton.
Hi.
Good morning to you both.
Gentlemen. Hi.
What are we talking about first?
Let's start with the front page of the Times, shall we, Christo? And disability claimants would swap cash for more help.
Yes.
Interesting, this one.
Interesting, especially in the context of what Reform are announcing today regarding this apparent cut to benefits. But they're reporting on half of disability benefit claimants would be prepared to sacrifice £1,000 a year of their benefits if they got services like therapy and healthy meals. This was a think tank called the Good Growth Foundation, and they found that nearly a third of people claiming these benefits like PIP and others would sacrifice at least £50 a week if they got services that helped them with their condition, like therapy, physical aids, employment support, healthy meals, which actually seems to make a lot of sense. I think that you know, if they're actually going to get help that might get them back into the workplace, that might actually mean that because I think a lot of people, our benefit system is very skewed in as much as that, and I know you've discussed this many times yourself before, that if you are someone who wants to get back in the workplace, but then you try, you lose your benefits. If you, that a lot of our benefits are about giving people money, but actually support they might need, therapy they might need to get them back into the workplace, something that you don't get or have to wait years for.
It does seem very sensible, if true, but James, the cynic in me says
surely
you can
not.
Say anything, you can say anything to a survey when it comes to actually then taking away your £1,000 for the added services. Would they be as willing?
Well, that is a good question, Mark, and perhaps there's a cynic in all of us asking that question. However, I agree with Christo that part of the difficulty that people on PIP have is that they lack confidence. So having therapy, having the knowledge that they will get these services instantly rather than waiting years will boost their confidence and perhaps help them to get back into the job market. At the moment, 4 million people in this country claim PIP every year, and the cost is due to go up to 41 billion within 4 years. So that's...
And it's doubled already.
So it's a huge amount. And if... as you said, Reform are searching for ways to cut the huge bill that we have at the moment. If this could work, it would be an absolute game changer for the economy.
However, let's not forget, a lot of disability benefits, the mental health conditions are actually covered in those. It is a no-brainer to me that we should be saying, actually, as part of your benefits, sorry, you are going to get a little bit less money. You have to go to therapy every single week.
Yes.
Because if you know, a physical condition is probably a long-term physical condition is probably a little more difficult to solve. But a mental health condition, I think many are solvable if they get help that they need, and actually then getting into the workplace helps them even more.
Yeah, because it gives you purpose, doesn't it?
Yeah, without a doubt.
And a way of getting out of the house in the morning.
But even now with a physical condition, there's so many jobs, especially these days, that you can do that doesn't require necessarily that same level of mobility. You can do it from your own home.
Yeah, absolutely. You could be doing it remotely. We encourage so many people to work remotely now, and so I think that there is a really untapped resource of people who could be working and being productive in our economy, and equally then reducing the benefits bill. So this is solutions rather than problems. But you're right, the devil's in the detail of whether people would actually do it. But certainly for mental health conditions that are solvable, I would make people have to have therapy.
Yeah, no, it's a practical solution, isn't it? James, let's have a look at this one in the Mail, shall we? Girls set to outdo boys at GCSE level for 38 years in a row.
Well, as the father of 3 girls, I absolutely think that this is a no-brainer, that girls are cleverer. And in fact, the stats prove that. 38 years in a row, as you say, girls have been ahead of boys in every subject except maths. And Alan Smithers, a veteran professor of education, is suggesting that there may be an inherent difference between the sexes. That's quite controversial. But what I would say is that perhaps boys feel they've been neglected expected, they don't mature so quickly, and all that could lead to problems in the future, particularly for the economy. You know, if boys are not developing quickly enough, they're not getting the academic qualifications they need, the workforce is going to be lacking. And as boys see more girls go to university and get better grades, perhaps their sense of self-esteem is plummeting as well. So I do think that the girls are doing well, which is great, but the problem of boys underachieving also needs to be addressed, because that's going to have a huge impact on this country.
Christo?
Yeah, I worry about these figures because I worry that our obsession... This is one thing I think, actually, whether the government followed through on it, I've no idea, but I think this is something that they've got right, in as much as they have been talking about trying to give roots to people who are less academic, because I think what this exposes is that some boys, more boys than girls, are less academic, but we've had an economy and an education system in the last 30 years that's academia obsessed. You know, the Blairite, everyone must go to university way of doing things, and we've imported people to do the kinds of jobs we used to have working class, sometimes in quite a lot of cases white boys do, and they've been left behind in a lot of things. So I wonder if this is a symptom of that, and that's why the girls are prospering in the subjects that are more academic, but boys are just being left behind because there isn't that route.
No. You could see it reasserting itself, though, given the advances with AI, where now actually there's a real emphasis and importance being attached to sort of manual labour jobs again, because they're not the kind of jobs that can be done by AI.
Yeah, and you're right, in AI, you know, AI isn't going to build you a wardrobe.
No.
Yeah, a fantastic point. Christo, James, we'll have to leave it there, I'm afraid, because we are speaking to Danny Krueger in just a few moments' time. If we have some more time at the end of the programme, we'll come back to you. So do stay where you are.
In the chat about wardrobes and...
I want to talk about important things.
Absolutely, without a doubt. In fact, cancel Danny.
In the meantime, though, let's tell you about the Great British Giveaway, because you only have until Friday to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar. Here are all of the details that you need.
Welcome to All is Santi by Domes Resorts. There's just 4 days left to see how you could win big in our golden summer celebration. And you could be enjoying a golden year with an incredible £60,000 to be won. That's tax-free cash that you'll get to spend on anything you like. What would you do with it? You could relax knowing that we've got those day-to-day financial pressures sorted. Or find yourself celebrating in the lap of five-star luxury, somewhere like here, the Spritzeria. Plus, we'll give you a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000 that you can keep or gift to a loved one. Make sure you don't miss out as lines close on Friday.
For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Well, still to come, we'll be speaking to Reform UK MP Danny Krueger about his party's plans to ban benefits for foreign nationals.
But first, here's your forecast across Europe.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. Apart from the odd isolated thunderstorm, most of the Mediterranean will see plenty of dry, hot and sunny weather over the next few days. A bit of a breeze though for Madeira, perhaps bringing the odd shower here on Tuesday. Otherwise, Spain and Portugal, cloudless skies, lots of sunshine here. Perhaps the odd afternoon and evening thunderstorm across the spine of Italy, parts of the Balkans and Greece and Turkey. But these mostly inland, coastal regions remaining generally dry, sunny and hot. And the outlook is for temperatures to remain in the low to mid-30s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
This is GB News.
Britain's news channel.
4 heat waves, weeks without meaningful rain. As the UK heads towards one of its hottest summers on record, the pressure is showing here in Sussex, in the fruit growing across these fields. Well, the impact of the heat is already visible here. This local grower says that if these extreme temperatures continue, this year's harvest may well be smaller in size.
I don't think there's been another period like this in the history. 3 years ago, we had a tremendous heat wave in the middle of harvest. We were unable to get the fruit to cool down quickly enough. The following year we had a very, very light crop, and the same again this year.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain's only all-female chess team, called She Plays to Win, has been promoted to the game's top division, only to be told they must recruit a male player to compete. Now, league rules require every First Division team to include at least one male and one female player, meaning that one of the team's female players could lose her place. I'm joined in the studio by the She Plays to Win chess players, Anusha and Alicia. Great to see you both this afternoon.
Thank you.
So sorry about what's going on. You've been promoted, but you might have to lose one of your teammates. What's going on here?
So essentially, we have fallen victim to this rule that She Plays to Win, our team, has been promoted to the First Division in our league, but now must have a male player as part of the rules.
GB News, the People's Channel. Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Well, that drought is due to long periods, record periods actually, with no rainfall and high temperatures. The areas that are affected, as you say, over half of England, half of the UK affected by that. The areas being East Anglia, Hertfordshire, the whole of London, Thames Valley, Hampshire and the Isle of Wight, Devon and Cornwall, the West Midlands and Wessex, covering Dorset, Somerset, Wiltshire and Gloucestershire. So a huge area impacted by that drought. There is also that amber heat health alert still in place here. That's in place until tomorrow. And temperatures today in the south could reach up to 35 degrees. So people here in Bognor Regis coming to the coast to cool down.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Welcome back to Breakfast. It's 6:47. I'm delighted to say that we're joined by Reform UK MP for East Wiltshire, Danny Krueger, who joins us now. Very good morning to you, Mr. Krueger. And you're here today to talk to us about this Reform UK policy to ban foreigners from claiming welfare. Just explain this a little bit more to us. What benefits would this apply to, and who would this apply to specifically? Are we talking about people who arrived yesterday on a small boat crossing the Channel, or are we talking about people who have been here for 20 years, who have worked, who have paid tax and have settled status?
Well, certainly people who arrived here yesterday illegally should not be claiming any benefits at all, and our policy is to ensure that they are immediately detained and deported. This policy applies to people who have been granted the right of residency under various schemes by previous governments and are claiming benefits contributed by UK taxpayers. Our belief is that the British welfare system is for British nationals only. If you want to have the right to claim benefits, you should join our country. You are welcome to apply for citizenship, and if you meet the threshold, you will be able to become a British citizen and have those entitlements. So yes, we are applying this new ban on welfare payments, which extends from universal credit, disability benefit, housing benefit, child benefit, all of the different benefits that British citizens are entitled to receive, applying that to all foreign nationals, including EU citizens who are here under the terms of the EU exit deal, which will require some renegotiation. And just the context of this, we have an absolutely unsustainable welfare bill, hundreds of billions of pounds going on welfare. We need that money for defence, for tax cuts. Just in the last 4 years, foreign nationals have claimed over £50 billion in welfare payments from the British taxpayer. That's getting on for our entire defence budget, just going to foreign national claimants. So this has to end, and that's the strategy that we are setting out today.
And do you really want to open up these EU negotiations once again? We will all remember just how painful it was the last time around there. And of course, there's the converse side of this, where you've got British nationals in the European Union who could have their benefits withdrawn.
Well, just on that point, that's a fair challenge, and we've set aside money to ensure that British nationals who might indeed have a reciprocal denial of benefits from the European country that they're in, we will cover their benefits from the UK purse, which is right. They are British nationals and they're entitled to British welfare payments. On the point of the renegotiation, obviously we don't want to go through the trauma of the Brexit negotiations again. Nevertheless, everybody recognises that the EU deal is unsatisfactory. Negotiations and renegotiations happen as a matter of course between sovereign states. There's a range of things that we need to look at in terms of the EU deal, most of all the arrangement we have for border security and for illegal immigration. But there are issues around Northern Ireland and, of course, issues around trade in general. So we expect, and Europe are waiting for this, that if Reform win the next election, there will be a discussion about a new set of terms for our relationship there. And one thing we are absolutely insistent on is that we're not going to be paying foreign nationals British welfare payments.
Danny Krueger, can I take you back to Friday night and that emergency alert that went off on all of our phones, warning about the risk of wildfires and urging people not to take barbecues out at the weekend? We now understand that Louise Haigh signed off on that phone alert. Did you think that that was a necessary message to appear on everybody's mobile phone in the country? And there are now calls for the government to publish its criteria for issuing these emergency alerts. Do you think that this needs to be looked at?
It absolutely does. I mean, I was driving along a main road in my constituency. Suddenly, my phone is shouting at me through the car speakers. I didn't know what was going on. I think it was, and then it turns out that they were just telling us not to have a barbecue. I mean, this is an absolute abuse of a very important public message system that has to be reserved for genuine emergencies and immediate risk to life, and that's what the system was set up for. We can't have the government just intruding into our lives, and think about all the people who are driving on motorways, but also people in cinemas, at important private family events. Suddenly everybody's phones are blaring at them with a frankly trivial public safety message. So no, I think it was a very inappropriate use of that system, and yes, we are calling for a absolute transparency. The government must come to the public and explain to us what on earth the criteria and the decision-making process for this was, and ensure that it doesn't happen like this again.
You clearly feel it devalues what should be a very valuable scheme for use in dire emergencies. I guess what the government will say is that with dozens of wildfires that were ablaze at that time on a Friday evening, that there was a dire emergency here.
Well, let's have that debate. I mean, I'm afraid to say there's always trouble around, and I agree that it's very serious, the state of, the weather. I mean, again, in my constituency, we've had serious fires breaking out in the countryside, so of course it's a serious matter. But I think the public can be communicated with without having to interrupt them in this very intrusive, very alarming way, literally designed for an emergency and an immediate risk to life. That was the terms under which this new system was set up in the last Parliament. I think the public understand the value of, we all have our mobile phones. It's a very good thing that the government can reach us in a crisis, but I don't think this qualifies.
The consultation on Rosebank, which is the UK's largest remaining untapped oil field, has now closed. That comes after the consultation on Jackdaw closed just last week. So awaiting now a government decision on both of those. Does Reform UK say and believe that we need to approve Jackdaw and Rosebank?
We absolutely need to approve those schemes, and we need to go further. And it's encouraging that the government is suggesting that it might approve them. Obviously, this is a major U-turn for all of them from a year or two ago when they were saying no more drilling. Obviously, we need to approve these schemes, but we need to go further. Britain is in an absolute economic crisis because of our energy costs. We have the highest electricity bills in the world, and that is a principal reason for our slow growth, low wages. and the fact that we're not competitive with the rest of the world. So we need to exploit all the available sources of energy that this country has. We are rich in oil and gas, we're rich in natural resources, we have the opportunities of nuclear and new technologies as well. The government should be pushing ahead as fast as possible on all of these fronts, not dragging its feet and scratching its chin as it's been doing over these two fields in the North Sea. We need to absolutely approve those, and we need to do much, much more.
Can I just finally ask you about the EU negotiation again, if we were to go into a renegotiation? Do you feel, for instance, issues around defence is an area which the UK has a bit of strength in depth here because of our defence capacity, and how far would you be willing to extend that? There is talk, for instance, about extending the nuclear umbrella over Europe as a whole.
Well, already our nuclear umbrella covers Europe. We're the only nuclear power that has an explicit commitment to the defence of NATO, except the US itself, of course. So among the two European countries with a nuclear deterrent, France and the UK, we're the one that makes a commitment to NATO and to Europe. The French don't. So we make an outsized contribution already in a whole range of domains. And yes, there's two principal factors that mean that we can negotiate better terms with Europe. One is our trade deficit. They depend on our market more than we depend on theirs. And the second, as you say, is our defence commitment, which is absolute, by the way. We're completely committed to supporting our European allies against the threat from Russia, from China, from Iran, and from international terrorism. So that's a point of leverage that we have. We expect the Europeans to negotiate in good faith with us. And if we get into government with a strong mandate for change, we expect the Europeans to talk to us in good faith as partners with very many common interests.
OK, Danny Krueger, thank you so much for your time this morning. We really do appreciate it. Thanks for joining us on GB News Breakfast.
Thank you. Well, still to come, we'll be debating if it's time to take climate change more seriously. That and much more coming up in your next hour. This is GB News Breakfast.
Thank you, Britain, for making GB News Radio such a huge success. Whether you're in the car, on the go, or listening at home, thank you for choosing us as your radio station.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M6 southbound is closed between junctions 16 and 15 in Stoke-on-Trent after a collision. The M27 westbound is closed between junctions 10 and 9 at Whiteley. The M25 anti-clockwise is slow between junctions 10 and 9 at Leatherhead. The M4 eastbound has a queue at junction 4 in Heathrow. In Scotland, the A898 southbound Erskine Bridge is closed. Across Wales, the A44 from Aberystwyth to Llanbadarn 4 is closed. And on the trains, Greater Anglia has major disruption between Shenfield and Southend Victoria, with disruption between Witham and Chelmsford. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
It's the final week to see how you could win over £65,000 in prizes. You could be our latest Great British Giveaway winner. First of all, we want to give you £60,000 in tax-free cash. Plus, you'll also receive a fine gold bar worth over £5,000.
For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here It's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Reform UK says it plans to slash £50 billion from the benefits bill.
Yes, the party calls for a ban on foreign nationals claiming welfare, labelling the current system immoral. Well, moments ago, we spoke to Reform UK MP Danny Krueger.
Certainly people who arrived here yesterday illegally should not be claiming any benefits at all, and our policy is to ensure that they are immediately detained and deported.
Well, Reform is also pledging to cut disability benefits to the tune of £22 billion, with a new report finding that half of claimants would swap PIP for better support. We're asking this morning, is Reform UK's plan the bold action that Britain needs, or is it a recipe for pushing the most vulnerable to breaking point?
Stay tuned, because we're going to be debating this very issue. Should the state ban migrants from claiming benefits?
And breaking news overnight, the Hollywood actress Hayden Panettiere, known for her roles in Nashville and Heroes, has died at the age of 36.
Planning rules are getting a shake-up as part of a Housing Secretary Angela Rayner's bid to turbocharge house building. But would you live right next to a train station?
Residents in a small Welsh village say they feel blindsided by a decision to house asylum seekers in local new builds. That's despite the government's promise not to use newly built properties for migrant accommodation.
The oil and gas industry is urging the Prime Minister to approve two controversial North Sea developments as the government prepares to make a final decision on whether the Rosebank oil field can go ahead.
With wildfires scorching large swathes of Britain, is this the strongest sign yet that climate change is taking hold of our weather patterns? We're going to be debating that in just a few moments' time.
And rain is finally on the way, but are we set for another heat wave in a matter of weeks?
Heard there's a big change on the way? Find out if there's any rain in the forecast where you live in your full forecast coming up later.
And sport this morning, well, two more golds on the last night of the European Athletics Championship. Amy Hunt claiming her fourth. Georgia Hunter-Bell easily won the 1,500 metres last night. Arsenal send out a warning to all of us after thrashing the pepless Manchester City in the Community Shield. And in cricket, the Trent Rockets and then the Manchester Supergiants won the 100.
Good morning, it's just gone 7 o'clock. I'm Ellie Costello.
And I'm Mark White. Welcome to a new week of GB News Breakfast. Well, it's very good that we are getting finally some rain. We need obviously sustained rain. And interestingly, Susan Dorset has messaged a few times this morning. She said, Mark and Ellie, please ask people to put water out for wildlife. She says, we have bees drinking from our bird bath. It's true, I suppose, you know, gardens and everywhere is bone dry. So, you know, little tubs of water or something out in the gardens.
It's easy to do, isn't it? And it really helps the wildlife. There was a video that went viral last week of a lady who just put a bowl of water outside her back door, and she set up a camera and all of the wildlife that came along during the day.
Oh.
And there were foxes and butterflies,
rats,
and bees. I don't think there was a rat, but yeah, and yeah, they all came to the back door. Because they're all so thirsty. There's nowhere for them to drink.
Can I just say, I didn't know that bees drank water. Is that ridiculous? Is that just a stupid thing to say?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I'd never imagined that a bee would, you know, you can lead a bee to water and everything. I thought they just drank the sweet stuff.
Every day's a school day.
Go. I'm going to look into that.
Are you putting water? You're a keen gardener.
Yeah, I did a little bit of water out. They says they've got something hanging with like a plate, so for birds to drink.
Very good.
But yeah, you've got to have a little bit. Is that allowed? Are we allowed to do that?
Yes.
Is that allowed?
Well, that's a great point.
Don't use your hose.
OK, fine. I would never do such a thing.
No. Very good. Well, that's something we can all do. That's our homework for today, for this week.
Well done.
Right.
Good work.
Moving on to our top story, and Reform UK has announced plans to ban foreign nationals from claiming almost all types of benefits if the party wins power.
Yes, the proposal is part of a wider plan to cut more than £50 billion a year from the welfare bill, while Reform UK says that restricting benefit access for foreign nationals could save around £20 billion annually.
And in other news, the government is facing calls to publish the criteria for issuing emergency alerts following criticism that the national wildfire warning was unnecessary.
Well, head of the Cabinet Office, Louise Haigh, is understood to have signed off on that nationwide alert, which warned that barbecues and fireworks could start wildfires. Go figure.
Yeah, well, commissioning editor and writer at large for The Spectator, Tally Fraser, joins us now. So Louise Haigh signed off on this.
Yes, she did. So Louise Haigh is Andy Burnham's number 2, head of the Cabinet Office, and it seems that she was the one who pressed the button for these alerts to go ahead.
And she'll have received that herself on her new phone.
On her new phone and any other phones that she may or may not have had at the time. So you can imagine the alarm ringing out in the Cabinet Office. But yes, there's a lot of controversy surrounding the decision to go ahead with this. And, you asked Danny Krueger earlier, should this be publicised, the reasons why this went ahead. And he made the point that this was not what the alarm system was set out to do. It was for imminent threats and not for basically sort of recommending one behaviour over another, which this was, don't have barbecues. So I think this is going to sort of keep rolling until it's revealed, because it will turn into a, boy who cries wolf alarm system.
Yeah, it completely devalues it, doesn't it? You do think that it will, as you say, turn into public infomercials. What it'll be next, it'll be, don't forget to pay your television licence.
Yeah, if Ellie was in charge, maybe it'll be put out a little dish of water for the animals outside. You must remember to do it.
That's a good point.
Maybe talk to Louise Haigh. Maybe she'll come on for an interview. You can see if she'll.
Well, she's always welcome.
Don't misplace your phone.
Yeah, exactly.
In other news today, we're just talking to Danny Krueger, weren't we? Lots of you, a big fan of Danny Krueger this morning, just saying he seems like a very sensible politician. You'd like to see much more of him. So that's gone down very, very well this morning. Also, this plan to ban all foreign nationals from welfare, and Reform UK saying this would save £21 billion annually. Now, this would be popular with the public, wouldn't it? But how would this be enforceable? Lots of people saying this is going to open up Brexit wounds.
Well, it would have to basically reopen Brexit wounds, because it requires going and renegotiating with the EU, because this would cover EU nationals with settled status. So I know, listening to Danny, he said nobody wants to rehash Brexit and go through the trauma of the negotiations that took place. But there would be no other option than to go back and look at the Brexit deal. Perhaps, relighting the issue around this is something that Reform feel like they could take on. Perhaps they feel ennobled, they think the Brexit deal isn't that great to begin with, so they want to look at more than just welfare. But so far, any renegotiations or potential renegotiations with the EU haven't been going very well.
I thought it was really interesting, though, Tally, what he said. I think they're obviously thinking ahead to potential criticism that there might be about what of the many thousands of Brits abroad who will get their benefits cut. And he's saying a Reform government would step in and would pay them their benefits.
Yes, Reform have sort of preempted this criticism and looked ahead at what that would mean. And they've said they're prepared, to cover the welfare for these people, Brits living in the EU, who should, we remove from EU settled status here, and then Brits abroad lose theirs, that actually British citizens would still be covered by the British state, because that's what the welfare system is for. And I think that's the argument that they're trying to make more broadly by removing from foreign citizens, that actually the welfare state is for British citizens, it's for Brits, it's not for sort of broader than that. So that's why they're going really bold with this.
OK, Tali Fraser, it's been good to see you today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tali. Well, moving on now to the breaking news that we've got about the Hollywood actress Hayden Panettiere, who's best known for her roles in Heroes and Nashville. She died at the age of just 36.
Yes, a representative for the actress has confirmed the death, saying she was an incredible light and a force of nature who brought immeasurable love and joy to all who knew her.
Well, we can now speak to GB News Entertainment editor Alex Davis. Good morning to you, Alex. I mean, obviously this young actress, and we say young, she was only 36, although she'd starred in a number of television series and films in her time. I mean, an absolutely tragic outcome. Do we know what happened here?
Sadly, at the moment, not. Details surrounding the circumstances of her death have been pretty scarce at the moment. Obviously, it's only just broken this morning, and we are still awaiting information from law enforcement. You mentioned there, she was only 36. She starred in Heroes and Nashville, but she's been acting since she was 4 years old. And I guarantee you may not even watch those shows, but I guarantee you will have seen her in something at some point down the line. It's incredibly sad, obviously, especially because this was supposed to be such an amazing year for Hayden Panettiere. She has been, like I said, she's been an actress for a number of years, but this year she just released her first ever memoir, where she delved into her previous struggles with addiction and postpartum depression. She shares a daughter with the champion boxer Vladimir Klitschko, but following the birth of her daughter, battled with this illness, postpartum depression, and was a keen advocate for raising awareness for that. And not that she needed a rebirth in her career or a reboot, but this memoir was just the latest great big project where she could open up about everything, go through her previous struggles and raise awareness for these sort of issues. And this was really supposed to be her year. So this is just incredibly, incredibly tragic. You mentioned there about the statement from the rep. Her father, Skip, has also come out and called it an unimaginable loss, especially because only 3 years ago, her brother died as well, a fellow actor. He was just 28. He died of an enlarged heart. So the Panettiere family have been dealing with such tragedy, and Hayden has as well. And this is just the latest, most devastating chapter.
OK. Alex, it really is just such shocking news that's come into us overnight. Thank you for bringing that to us.
Well, you're watching GB News and listening to GB News Breakfast with Ellie and Mark. It's time now for our daily reflection.
The GB News Daily Reflection.
Welcome to the Anglican parish of St Andrews, Wimbledon, where I serve as the vicar. There's a bakery near where I went to college with barely any signage. There's no advertising to speak of. But every day a queue stretched right the way down the street, drawn presumably by the smell of fresh bread. More and more people found their way there every day. In Matthew chapter 15, a Canaanite woman approaches Jesus, begging him to heal her daughter. And he tells her plainly, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel." She was from a different religious and cultural background than he was. But she keeps going, she presses in and she says, "Even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from the master's table." Then Jesus replies, "Woman, you have great faith. Your request is granted." And her daughter was healed at that moment. Throughout history, people have discovered that the real Jesus is magnetic. He seems to draw people you wouldn't expect. Outsiders, no-hopers, even those he wasn't even advertising to, so to speak. Whereas most religions or philosophies tend to be confined to one place or region or language, usually the place where it all started, the Bible's message about Jesus seems to cross all barriers, languages, class, ethnicity. Like billions of other people, I have found that the real Jesus really is magnetic. He's a light not just for one nation or one type of person, but for all nations and all types of people. That Canaanite woman discovered this with great joy on that day. What about us today? Is there anything you find magnetic about Jesus?
And that's our daily reflection on this Monday morning. Good reflection to start the week.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, moving on, the heat wave is over and rain has cometh to Britain. However, yet another heat wave is reported to be on the way for September.
Yeah, that will be the 6th one this year, can you believe?
It is the summer, though.
Yes. Will we ever have a normal summer again, or is this just the norm?
Well, meteorologist for Weather Trending, John Hammond, joins us now. Good morning to you, John.
Hi there.
Listen, I think most people are going to really welcome the rain, at least. Can you give us an indication, first of all, whether this is the right kind of rain? Because we need it to be a bit sustained, don't we?
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Mark. And for some of us, I'm afraid we're going to have to be patient. We're not expecting a deluge. We're certainly not going to make up much of the deficit over the days ahead, particularly cruelly across those areas which need it most. You know, some parts of the south have had 60 days without rain now. And although there may be a few showers in the days ahead across southern areas, we're going to need more than a few showers, aren't we? So the big picture really across the UK, no return of heat in the next few days. It'll be warm in the sunshine across the south, but not the 30-degree plus temperatures which we've seen in recent weeks. And there will be some rain. Now, most of the rain over the next day or so will be across northern areas. So, for example, later on today, it'll turn properly wet across Northern Ireland, Scotland, Northern England, a very wet evening to come here. Further south, though, after a dry day, there may be sprinkles of rain by tomorrow morning, but it will just be sprinkles. And over the next couple of days, really, a lot of dry weather, but much cooler weather. I mean, that's a good thing in a way, because cooler weather means there's less demand for water. But what we really need, as you said, Mark, is sustained rainfall for weeks and weeks and weeks. And there's no real sign of that through this week. Yeah, there'll be some showers, but most of the persistent rain will be further north across the country where the need is somewhat less. You mentioned a return of a heat wave in September. There's no clear indication of that, to be honest. I think we've turned a bit of a corner as far as this summer's concerned, Mark. My charts indicate that through the rest of August, and certainly possibly into the early part of September, our good old friend, the jet stream, will start to push low pressure systems in, and that means rain. And eventually, I think, although it'll be a slow start across the south, eventually in the weeks ahead, we will see some much needed and persistent rain at times. So hopefully, fingers crossed, not good news for holidaymakers, of course, but hopefully over the next few weeks, it's going to be kind of back to normal. And I think that may well be the theme as we go into September. I don't think at this stage I'm going to promise you another heat wave. You know, September can be a very warm month and temperatures may pick up again, but I'm not going to sort of dangle that carrot just yet.
So is that the end of our summer, John?
I think it's the end of the summer which we've just had, Ellie, which has been a remarkable, freakish, unusual summer. It's kind of back to the summers we're more familiar with. So
well,
some rain,
okay.
sunshine, and cooler as well, yeah.
Yeah. All right, John, good to see you this morning. Where are you? That looks beautiful.
I'm in rural Buckinghamshire, and this is just near my house. This is usually all very green and lush, but as we know, it hasn't rained for weeks and weeks and weeks. So we need rain here as we do across much of southern Britain.
Well, still looks beautiful, John.
It really does. Lucky you being so close to that. That's brilliant.
There was a deer just scampering across just in front of the camera about 2 minutes ago. I know. I was hoping to get it on camera, but it's gone.
Oh, you have to see if you can film that for us. We'd love to see that. Thanks, John. Good to see you.
All the best, John. Well, my wee furry babies, anyway, will be mightily relieved that the temperatures are dipping, thank God.
How are you keeping the kitty cats cool?
When I'm home, I've got portable air conditioner.
Oh,
but
very
when
good.
I go out, I switch it off because I'm just worried about it short-circuiting and, you know, there's no one there if it was to catch fire, so...
Yeah, you do need to be careful. I just kept dunking the dog in a cold sink of water.
Oh,
but he's a bit silly. He'd just go out and lay in the sun then. So, yeah, it was very difficult. So I'll be pleased just to have a normal summer again. Anyway, let us know how you've been coping in the heat. Are you pleased to see the return of a normal summer, as John explained it as gbnews.com/you'll-say.
And for more detailed analysis of the weather, here's Tom Morgan.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. Certainly a more changeable week of weather on the way out there this week. It's quite wet in some northern areas today. Southern areas will hold on to some sunshine for at least a while, but it will be turning more humid for all of us. So out there this morning, a few showers in the south and the southwest of England in particular. But for many parts of England and Wales and northeast Scotland, it will be a largely dry day. The best of the sunshine by this afternoon probably for parts of Wales, central, southern and southwestern parts of the UK. Turning quite wet though for Northern Ireland and western Scotland. The odd heavier burst of rain pushing in here through the afternoon. Quite a humid feel wherever you are out there this afternoon, and highs in the south 26 to 28 degrees Celsius, so another very warm day, particularly in the sunnier areas. Now out across northeastern parts of Scotland it will be a lot fresher here, quite a cool feeling day with temperatures a little bit below average for August, but actually there'll be plenty of sunny spells out there on Monday afternoon for Shetland and Orkney. Turning increasingly wet though for western Scotland, the central belt, as we head towards the rush hour. And for Northern Ireland, some heavy bursts of rain pushing in here as well, particularly through this evening. Mostly dry at this point across Wales and southern parts of England, so plenty of evening sunshine here. Just a small chance of a shower for southeastern England for a time. Now through the course of tonight, the rain spreads its way northeastwards across Scotland and also southwards across England. So quite a wet night to come for many parts of the UK. The rain in the south quite showery, but several millimetres of rain possible in a few spots. So some welcome rain for the gardeners and the farmers. Look at these temperatures though, 15 to 18 degrees Celsius overnight, so quite a warm and humid start to Tuesday. Bit of uncertainty as to how quickly the rain clears away from southern England on Tuesday morning. It might just hang back a little bit longer than the graphics suggest at this stage. Northeastern Scotland will also stay fairly wet, particularly Shetland and Orkney. Otherwise, a mixture of sunny spells and scattered showers for northwestern areas, and mostly dry with hazy sunshine for parts of England and Wales. Not as warm as today, but still temperatures above average in the south, a cooler, more blustery feel in the north.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
I think it's the first on gbnews.com/you'll-say. Mark, you have a marriage proposal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from Miss P Devotion, who says, I thought Mark White was married. I'll marry him. I've got 2 cats too. We can be a blended family.
Oh, wow.
That's nice, isn't it?
4 wee kittens, yeah.
That'd be nice.
That'll be great fun.
They can all crowd around the aircon unit in the hot weather. It's quite sweet.
OK, I'm blushing now.
He is.
Still to come, we're asking the Shadow Housing Secretary, James Cleverly, how the Conservatives plan to crack down on illegal traveller sites.
But first, after devastating wildfires across the UK, is it time that we start taking climate change more seriously? We're debating that next.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
We can allow. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter? So that's a very live question. Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Back.
Well, as summer draws to a close, many of us have been left questioning the impact of climate change as droughts and wildfires have hit parts of the country.
Well, in Stourbridge, where we were last week, 19 homes were destroyed after wildfires surrounded a residential area there. While in Essex and East Sussex, trains were derailed after the extreme heat caused railway tracks to buckle.
Well, with extreme weather becoming increasingly difficult to ignore, we're asking, is it time we start talking or taking climate change more seriously? Is it this, or is it just a normal weather pattern?
Yeah, is it just summer? Well, to debate this morning, we're joined by Director of Climate Media Coalition, Donncha McCarthy, and author Rupert Darwell, who has a new book coming out this autumn called The Age of Error and the West's Undoing. Very good. Morning, gentlemen. Donncha, let's start with you. I think I know what you're going to say. Do we need to take climate change more seriously?
Well, the British public says we should. There's around 2/3 of the British public have consistently said they're worried and disturbed by the fact that we're not taking enough action on climate change. Taking action on climate change is not rocket science. It's really very simple. We just need to electrify our heating, we need to electrify our transport, we need to holiday at home, cut our meat to once a week, and actually I've done all of those things and I have lived a very good quality of life. The government needs to do the same. Unfortunately, the soundings from the Burnham government so far are not good. It's going backward on transport, backward on aviation, backwards on meat. And this is actually going to be politically challenging for him because actually he lost 80% of votes to the Green Party at the local elections. So moving back in the middle of a terrible crisis that we're currently facing does not make good politics or good for the environment. The thing that I'm really worried about, and the British public, is food. The scientists warned that at the moment we have a once in 1,000 years chance of our food baskets suffering extreme weather. By 2040, which is only 14 years' time, we're talking about every second year, which means you can't store food required for humanity globally, and we're facing really... and the farmers are the first line in this crisis.
OK. Well, Rupert, I mean, listen, climate change is real. We go through periods of the sun heating up and cooling down. The issue is whether there's a man-made element to that climate change. That's a controversial element to it. I mean, do you accept that there is man-made elements in climate change, and what could we do to negate that?
Well, I think the way I'd answer the big question is, in some respects, we take climate change too seriously, and in some respects, not seriously enough. We take it too seriously in that the government has a legal duty to pursue net zero. It does not have a legal duty to pursue economic growth. It does not have a legal duty to pursue national security. Climate change, net zero, trumps everything. And in the 11 years from the passage of the Climate Change Act in 2008 to adoption of net zero in 2019, Britain cut its carbon dioxide emissions by 180 million tonnes. Over that period, the rest of the world increased its emissions by 5 billion tonnes. our emissions reductions were wiped out on average every 140 days. So what we do in terms of reducing our emissions makes next to no difference. So why do I say we don't take climate change seriously enough? Well, if you believe that that man-made climate change is worsening the climate, making the weather more extreme, more unpredictable, the last thing you do is make your energy system more dependent on the weather. So we have loads and loads of wind farms, which when we have very high pressure weather systems, produce next to no electricity.
Let me finish this point.
What do you propose we do? This is extraordinary. We are facing the greatest crisis in human history, and this gentleman comes on this programme and trashes the solution. The fact is, over the last 20 years, what do you say to the oil company scientists who told us in the 1970s that if we kept burning the fossil fuels the oil companies are producing, we would face exactly what's happening in Britain this year, where our farmers can't produce food? This is the greatest crime in this century, and you're supporting it. The oil company scientists warning us. Why are you not supporting the oil executives who refused to listen to their scientists and got us into this mess? This is the greatest crime in human history, and you're abetting it.
What I think we need to do is look for solutions, and the solution of Climate Change Act, which is to drive our emissions down to next to nothing, has not worked simply because the rest of the world hasn't followed. If you look at the original reason why the Climate Change Act was passed in 2008, it was for Britain to show leadership, climate leadership. The rest of the world has not followed. That
Excuse me, that's not true.
That happens to be.
That's not true.
It happens to be the case.
What has China done?
It happens to be the case that in the 11 years since the passage between the passage...
Let Rupert finish.
Sorry, it happens to be the case that global emissions have continued to rise. That happens to be a fact. It may be an unpleasant fact, it may be a fact that you want to deny, but it happens to be a fact.
The point you made.
And we have to live with facts.
Yes, look, the fact is, you just said a barefaced lie. You said that the rest of the world is not doing nothing. Every single country except America has signed up to the International Treaty on Climate Change. China has invested more in green energy, solar and wind than the rest of the world put together. Spain, Norway, France, Germany have invested billions in renewable energy. Why are you lying? Why are you lying? The rest of the world is acting and have invested billions in tackling climate change. So why are you telling the untruth?
China burns over half the world's coal.
You accept China has invested more than the rest of the world put together in green energy?
China is the biggest emitter of carbon dioxide in the world.
Because it's got more people.
Donica, can I ask you, how is the climate aided by us importing oil and gas from countries around the world with all of the extra carbon emissions that are issued as a result of having to transport this fuel to our country?
Absolutely, totally agree with you. We shouldn't be importing it.
So we should be drilling in the North Sea again?
No, because the North Sea won't produce enough. The North Sea is 93% empty. If you drill everything, say yes to everything in the North Sea, we're still importing. So what we need to be doing is doing what China's doing, switching our cars to EVs, switching our homes to electric heating, and eliminate the need for this damn fuel. Britain is costs £100 billion every time there's an oil crisis. £100 billion subsidy to the industry this guy supports. I totally agree with you. We need to stop importing it. We need to stop burning it for the sake of our farmers, for the sake of national security.
OK, Rupert, final word to you.
Well, the lesson of the last 20 years is what Britain does in terms of emissions reductions does not make any difference to global emissions. And we could close down our economy and it wouldn't make any difference. But the thing is, we shouldn't be closing down our economy. We actually need to prioritise things like economic growth. And actually, economic growth is the best way to get climate resiliency.
OK. Rupert, Donica, thank you very much for a spirited debate.
Yes, thank you very much, gentlemen. Let us know what you think. gbnews.com/your say. Now, just time to tell you about the Great British Giveaway now, because you've only got until Friday for your chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar. Here are all of the details that you need.
Welcome to All Asante by Domes Resorts. There's just 4 days left to see how you could win big in our golden summer celebration. And you could be enjoying a golden year with an incredible £60,000 to be won. That's tax-free cash that you'll get to spend on anything you like. What would you do with it? You could relax knowing that we've got those day-to-day financial pressures sorted. Or find yourself celebrating in the lap of five-star luxury, somewhere like here, the Spritzeria. Plus, we'll give you a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000 that you can keep or gift to a loved one. Make sure you don't miss out as lines close on Friday.
For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck. Now do stay with us. Still to come, Paul's here with all your sport.
You know what? It's nice to see people talking about athletics. We love athletics here. And that's Amy Hunt. 4 gold medals at the European Championships. She is a superstar. We'll discuss more in just a second.
Thank you, Britain, for the thousands of you who are becoming friends of GB News each and every week.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M6 is closed between junctions 15 and 16 in Stoke-on-Trent after a collision. The M5 southbound is affected by a collision at junction 3. The M27 westbound is closed between junctions 4 and 3 in Southampton West. In Scotland, the A78 between Dunlop Street and A8 Ratho Street is closed in both directions. Across Wales, the A44 from Aberystwyth to Llanbadarn 4 is closed. And on the trains, Greater Anglia services are facing major disruption between Shenfield and Southend Victoria. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country. There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor. Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Well, welcome back to GB News Breakfast. It's that time again where Paul Coyte joins us for his sports roundup, and what a historic night for athletics.
It's been great. It's been really good, the athletics. I was saying last week, wasn't I, about the fact that it was a bit late and that it goes on to about 10 o'clock. But last night, I thought, OK, maybe I'll miss this one, maybe I'll... But I had to stay up for the whole thing. It was just terrific. And it's the European Championships, which are being held in Birmingham, which still amazes me. 92 years they've been running the European Championship. This is the first time it's been held in this country. But Amy Hunt, I mean, what a superstar she is. I mean, she is unbelievable. I mean, our sprinting, this is across the men and the women, has been great. I mean, she's won 4 gold medals at these European Championships. There she is there. She didn't run in the tiara, by the way, because it just wouldn't have worked, quite frankly. But she won the 100 metres, then the 200 metres, the 4x100 metre relay, that's for the women, and also she anchored the 4x100 metre mixed relay, which is a new event. Okay. But they're hoping that maybe this will go into the Olympics. Now, the way it works is that, see, I would think, because there's 2 men and 2 women that run in this, but it has to be man, woman, but I don't see why, because then it would just be another element to it. You can decide who starts in what order. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because that will make it a little bit more interesting. But that's the way they do it anyway. So Dina Atcher-Smith, she was part of that as well. And
also
she's
a superstar.
Exactly. Well, she's now the most successful athlete in European Championship history. 11 medals, 8 of those gold. But let's hear from Amy and see what you make on Amy. She is very confident, very successful. She has a great future. And this is what she said after her 4th gold medal.
It's so beyond the bounds of my dreams. I'm just so kind of euphoric right now. And I just can't believe it's happened. I think it will all sink in at kind of a later time, maybe on the podium, I don't know. But yeah, I think I'm just so proud of myself and the way that I've handled this week. The emotions of it, the recovery, kind of being strict and staying disciplined after all the highs, and just staying true to myself and true to the job that I went out there and did.
I think that's lovely.
Yeah, very
definitely an Olympic champion in the making.
I think so. 3 years to go. That's what she's going to be looking at, and I don't see why not.
She's Cambridge grad as well.
She is.
So she's clever.
She's extremely clever. She's got it all.
Yeah, she really does.
Talking of which, our friend Georgia Hunter-Bell, how many times have we had her on? We must have had her on 3 times now, yeah. And we said to her, you are our favourite. We love Keely, but Georgia, there's something about Georgia Hunter-Bell. She won the 1,500 metres last night.
Good on her.
And it was easy for her. I mean, she's just so elegant, the way she runs and the way she was just kept away from trouble and then just moved away whenever she wanted to. 7th international medal for her in 2 years. So Olympic bronze, World Championship silver, and this year she's going for the quadruple. She's got the indoor world title, Commonwealth gold in the 800, European gold, and then there's the Ultimate World Championships in Budapest next month. So she's going to go for that as well. So she was great. Jasmine Sawyers, silver in the long jump. Abby Donnelly, who was great. First time that we've had a medal in the marathon, in the women's marathon, so she got bronze in that. So I think it's been good, and I just like to see athletics because, we think back on the days of Coe and Ovett and Cram, and it was everywhere, and these were superstars. And these people deserve to be stars, but with so much sport around, sometimes they don't get the recognition they deserve.
Yeah. Just need to finally squeeze in. It's looking like a great season ahead for Arsenal.
Why are you saying that in an excited fashion?
Because I support Arsenal.
Oh.
When you're in London.
No, you don't.
Yeah, OK. Well, look, the curtain raises to the Premier League, which is the Community Shield. Arsenal 3, Manchester City 0. All right. 1 up after 1 minute. They were in control for the whole game. Enzo Maresca, it's his first game as Manchester City manager. I think I will honestly say, as much as it pains me, that it will take some stopping of anybody to get anywhere near Arsenal in the Premier League. But that's the only time I'm going to say it. I'm not going to mention it again. But they are very, very good. Hot favourites. They play Coventry at the Emirates on Friday.
OK.
Come on the Sky Blues.
Come on,
I'm just kidding. OK, well, anyway, so they look very good.
Thank you. Now, do stay with us. Still to come, are we about to see a ban on car washes and swimming pools? We're going to be digging in on that in the papers with Christo Fufas and James Rampton. Morning, gentlemen. But first, here's your forecast across Europe.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. Apart from the odd isolated thunderstorm, most of the Mediterranean will see plenty of dry, hot and sunny weather over the next few days. A bit of a breeze though for Madeira, perhaps bringing the odd shower here on Tuesday. Otherwise, Spain and Portugal, cloudless skies, lots of sunshine here. Perhaps the odd afternoon and evening thunderstorm across the spine of Italy, parts of the Balkans and Greece and Turkey, but these mostly inland, coastal regions remaining generally dry, sunny and hot. And the outlook is for temperatures to remain in the low to mid-30s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Morris, tell us exactly what is going to happen here this evening.
So what we have this evening as part of the wider FLAB Coming to Belfast programme is essentially 2 hours of Northern Irish Unionist Ulster Scots culture, dance, tradition, music. So we'll have got about a cast of 200, and like you said, we're covering flute bands, traditional fife and drum with lambeg drums. We've got a piper in there as well, a couple of Highland dance groups. We've just seen one rehearse. They are absolutely fantastic, and some drum majors from County Armagh as well. So it's 2 hours to do an absolute broad brush off the entire culture, and whenever you're trying to piece a show like that together, 2 hours just isn't enough.
Of course, you yourself spent a lot of time as a drum major outside this, didn't you? I mean, you served.
Yes, I did. I spent 23 years in the Household Division. I originally joined the Irish Guards, transferred to the Scots Guards.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Former NBA player Royce White says he's declaring for next year's women's NBA draft, claiming he now identifies as a female for the purpose of playing professional basketball. There he is on your screens. He's 6'8", he's massive, he's built like a brick, you know what. He's the former first-round pick in the NBA, which if you're not familiar with what the NBA is in the draft, basically when he was playing, he was all the NBA team's first choice for them to join his team. He was a quality player. He says he'd be unstoppable in the women's NBA and has vowed to use the women's changing room if allowed to compete. White, who is seeking the Republican Senate nomination in Minnesota, says he wants to expose what he sees as flaws in transgender inclusion rules in women's sport. And it all comes after former NBA star Enes Kanter, Freedom, also announced plans to declare for the 2027 women's NBA draft as well.
The People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Fury over a royal funeral plan for shamed Andrew. Should he get a royal funeral?
Emphatically not. He is a private citizen. He lost his HRH title of prince and also stepped down from numerous patronages. He's being, of course, as we all know, investigated by the police. The facts of the matter are that he is in disgrace. As a private citizen, he should most emphatically not get a royal ceremonial funeral. This is a matter for the Cabinet Office of the Royal Household. I can only presume that it's something that they haven't attended to, because there would be public outrage. The last YouGov poll last month, his popularity is 2%. You can't get worse than that.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Welcome back to Breakfast. It's 7:47. We're going through the papers this morning in the company of Christo Fufas and James Rampton. Morning, gentlemen. Good to see you both. Christo, let's start with you, and I can already feel the viewers and listeners' fury at this. Bans on car washes loom in an emergency plan to deal with drought.
Yes, I mean, this is just so moronic. It's really difficult to know where to start. But ministers told to brace themselves for widespread bans on water use at car washes and private swimming pools. This was secret talks that took place about the drought. Apparently they drew up these are Whitehall officials, a reasonable worst-case scenario that would feature restrictions not on you and I using hose pipes, which are frustrating enough, bearing in mind what we pay for water, but businesses who use water, obviously, for car washing. If you're a gym and you have a swimming pool in that gym and that pool needs filling, banning those as well. You know, window washers as well, window cleaners, not being able to use that water as well. So this is real-world consequences on people's incomes. And, of course, it all then just ties into the fact, as far as I'm concerned, that you have a cabinet full of people that have never run a business in their lives that just sit there and think, oh, yeah, that'll be fine, when in actual fact, businesses need water.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm actually having to say that sentence.
And it's a microcosm of what is actually leaking out of...
Leaking, good, yes.
You know, crumbling pipeworks right around the country.
Yeah, absolutely. Is it 25% of water is lost through leakage?
At least.
And so you're right. If they could fix the antiquated Victorian system, that would certainly help. But I wonder if there's an element of class war in this as well, from the Labour cabinet thinking, oh, you know, private swimming pools, none of our voters are going to have them, and also it's an easy win, isn't it? Because that will affect relatively few people. But then if you talk about gyms, then there are a lot of people who are affected by that. I think, though, the government has to be seen to be doing something. It's been such a catastrophic week, where in Stourbridge you were talking about earlier, absolutely devastating what's happened. The government can't be seen to be sitting on its hands saying, oh, well, we're not going to do anything about it. It has to make some sort of gesture.
Does the government need to intervene in this story? I don't know if you've both seen it this morning, but it's also doing the rounds of the papers. This is Ofwat. They are considering allowing water companies to raise bills for customers during periods of drought, so surge pricing, if you like, people using water during drought periods. Christo?
It's absolutely outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. Are they going to lower my prices when it's raining? Of course they're not. Of course they're not. They'll just do so when it is when there is a drought as a result of their own incompetence, a lack of infrastructure and leaks right, left and centre. So they can stick that in their hosepipe.
Are they going to lower the bonuses that are given to CEOs for catastrophically failing businesses? Of course they're not. You know, it's a very, very skewed world, the water company world, and they have not done themselves any favours by this latest measure. It has to be said, there wasn't much sympathy for the water companies to begin with, and there's even less now.
And also, just very quickly, it just goes to show if the government were thinking of this, the unintended consequences, because if a business can't operate, that hits tax receipts. When tax receipts get hit, the government has less money to spend on public services. And so it's so stupid. It's so stupid.
Well, we should just say that Ofwat have given us this statement. They say the efficient use of water is in the best interest of everyone, including businesses. The options we are progressing would support greater consideration of water scarcity and efficiency by water companies when setting their charges. The government have said we've already ring-fenced money earmarked for new infrastructure so it can be spent on fixing the problems, and we'll go further by fundamentally reforming the water sector so it works for the public, keeping bills as low as they can be.
James, let's have a look in the Mail now, which is claiming that one of the killers of PC Harper is still considered to be dangerous in internal assessments.
Yeah, he's... Jesse Cole, the 24-year-old convicted of the manslaughter of PC Harper, is considered so dangerous that he's being kept in a Category A prison. He's not safe to be moved to a less secure prison. He's also a trained boxer, and apparently when he was in Feltham, which a young offenders institute, which is full of murderers and the most dreadful people, he was considered the most terrifying inmate there. So it's just another aspect that makes you despair of this case. And we were talking off air about the impact on PC Harper's family. You know, the fact that this story is still grabbing the headlines for all the wrong reasons, because apparently the government is unable to stop these criminals from being released. It just intensifies the pain that they're all going through, and my heart goes out to them. I mean, Christo, I know, has done an interview with the mother of PC Harper, and you know, we'll talk about it. I mean, it's
on the GB News YouTube channel now, but you're absolutely right. They have not shown, these two, any remorse. They're still in this Category A prison, and what's so frustrating about this is that you get the government ministers and the Prime Minister pontificating about how they're going to do everything that they can, and the Justice Minister being told to pull every lever. Why did the government not know? This is one of the most high-profile manslaughter cases that has taken place in this country, and they exempted manslaughter when it came to the list of crimes that could not have early release. Well, did someone in the government not put two and two together and think, actually, if we don't have manslaughter included in this, then two of the most high-profile manslaughter killers of a serving police officer are going to be released? So if they do manage to fix this, they're only fixing their own mess.
Yeah, I covered the trial, and those little scumbags showed no remorse then. I'm sure that they show no remorse now, especially if they've become something behind bars, you know, to advance their own violent tendencies.
There's that very shocking picture that they keep showing of those two criminals laughing as they're being taken into the court, and you think, oh my God, that sums up how vile they are.
That's exactly what they were like.
James, Christo, thank you very much indeed. Let's get a check now on your weather.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. Certainly a more changeable week of weather on the way out there this week. It's quite wet in some northern areas today. Southern areas will hold on to some sunshine for at least a while, but it will be turning more humid for all of us. So out there this morning, a few showers in the south and the southwest of England in particular. But for many parts of England and Wales and northeast Scotland, it will be a largely dry day. The best of the sunshine by this afternoon probably for parts of Wales, central, southern and southwestern parts of the UK. Turning quite wet though for Northern Ireland and western Scotland. The odd heavier burst of rain pushing in here through the afternoon. Quite a humid feel wherever you are out there this afternoon, and highs in the south 26 to 28 degrees Celsius, so another very warm day, particularly in the sunnier areas. Now out across northeastern parts of Scotland, it will be a lot fresher here, quite a cool feeling day with temperatures a little bit below average for August, but actually there'll be plenty of sunny spells out there on Monday afternoon for Shetland and Orkney. Turning increasingly wet though for western Scotland, the central belt, as we head towards the rush hour. And for Northern Ireland, some heavy bursts of rain pushing in here as well, particularly through this evening. Mostly dry at this point across Wales and southern parts of England, so plenty of evening sunshine here. Just a small chance of a shower for southeastern England for a time. Now through the course of tonight, the rain spreads its way northeastwards across Scotland and also southwards across England. So quite a wet night to come for many parts of the UK. The rain in the south quite showery, but several millimetres of rain possible in a few spots. So some welcome rain for the gardeners and the farmers. Look at these temperatures though, 15 to 18 degrees Celsius overnight, so quite a warm and humid start to Tuesday. Bit of uncertainty as to how quickly the rain clears away from southern England on Tuesday morning. It might just hang back a little bit longer than the graphics suggest at this stage. Northeastern Scotland will also stay fairly wet, particularly Shetland and Orkney. Otherwise, a mixture of sunny spells and scattered showers for northwestern areas, and mostly dry with hazy sunshine for parts of England and Wales. Not as warm as today, but still temperatures above average in the south, a cool and more blustery feel in the north.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for making GB News Radio such a huge success. Whether you're in the car, on the go or listening at home, thank you for choosing us as your radio station.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M25 clockwise has delays between junctions 9 and 10 near Leatherhead following a collision. The M40 southbound has a report of a collision between junctions 5 and 4 near High Wycombe. The M1 southbound has a report of a collision at junction 6 in Bricket Wood. In Scotland, the M8 eastbound has queuing between junction 6A at Chapel Hall and junction 6 at Newhouse. Across Wales, the M4 eastbound from J24 Coldra to J23A Mega is congested. And on the trains, Greater Anglia has major disruption between Shenfield and Southend Victoria, with further disruption between Witham and Chelmsford. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
It's the final week to see how you could win over £65,000 in prizes. You could be our latest Great British Giveaway winner. First of all, we want to give you £60,000 in tax-free cash. Plus, you'll also receive a fine gold bar worth over £5,000.
For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
At the stroke of midnight, the news doesn't stop, and neither do we.
Day in, day out. Forget stuffy late night TV shows. We're giving you a front row ticket to the centre of the political universe.
Because breaking news doesn't wait for the morning.
And neither do we. Join us for one of the most controversial and volatile times of politics in human history.
A very big story.
Big story over here.
You won't get this anywhere else. The Late Show live at midnight, every night.
Only on GB News.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline.
Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What we're going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Reform UK says it plans to slash £50 billion from the benefits bill.
Well, the party calls for a ban on foreign nationals claiming welfare, labelling the current system immoral. Earlier, Reform UK MP Danny Krueger told us that illegal immigrants should never be entitled to benefits.
Certainly people who arrived here yesterday illegally should not be claiming any benefits at all, and our policy is to ensure that they are immediately detained and deported.
Well, Reform UK is also pledging to cut disability benefits to the tune of £22 billion, with a new report finding that half of claimants would swap PIP for better support. Is Reform's plan the bold action that Britain needs, or a recipe for pushing the most vulnerable to breaking point?
Yeah, stay tuned, because we're going to be debating this very issue. Should the state ban migrants from claiming benefits?
Tributes are pouring in after the death of 36-year-old Hollywood actress Hayden Panettiere, known for her roles in Nashville and Heroes.
The oil and gas industry is urging the Prime Minister to approve two controversial North Sea developments as the government prepares to make a final decision on whether the Rosebank oil field can go ahead earlier. We also put this to Reform UK's Danny Krueger.
Britain is in an absolute economic crisis because of our energy costs. We have the highest electricity bills in the world.
You may be very pleased to hear that rain is finally on the way, but also we're hearing that another heatwave we're set for in just a matter of weeks.
Heard there's a big change on the way? Find out if there's any rain in the forecast where you live in your full forecast coming up later.
Right, so
no, Andrews.
So who cares about the price of the pork rolls? 2 more golds on the last night of the European Athletics Championship, with Amy Hunt claiming the fourth, well, her 4 out of 4. Georgia Hunter-Bell easily winning the 1,500 metres last night. Arsenal send out a warning to all of us after thrashing pepless Manchester City in the Community Shield. And in cricket, Trent Rockets and then the Manchester Supergiants win the 100.
Good morning, it's just gone 8 o'clock. I'm Ellie Costello.
And I'm Mark White. Welcome to GB News Breakfast.
Let's get straight into our top story, shall we, at 2 minutes past 8, because Reform UK has announced plans to ban foreign nationals from claiming almost all types of benefits if the party wins power.
Well, the proposal is part of a wider plan to cut more than £50 billion a year from the welfare bill. Reform says restricting benefits access for foreign nationals could save around £21 billion annually.
Well, let's get the thoughts now of GB News presenter Andrew Pearce, who joins us now. Morning, Andrew. What do you make of
Well, it's been very
plans?
popular, that's
Well,
for sure.
Yeah, another week, another popular announcement.
Yeah. And look, the benefits bill is out of control, £334 billion. It's eye-watering. It can't go on like this. So Reform are being very bold. They're being bolder than I expected, because they're not just saying foreign nationals will be denied benefits completely, but also EU citizens who are here and who have settled status, who may be claiming benefits, they will be withdrawn. Now, that will mean they have to renegotiate a Reform government, the whole Brexit deal. Oh, my God. I don't know, I can even... the thought of it.
I know, it's a big old can of worms.
Isn't it? It's a huge can of worms. But, and this is... I mean, look, Brexit's been a great disappointment to those of us who supported it, and because the Tories' successive prime ministers messed it up, not least Theresa May and Boris Johnson. But the settled status is quite important, and it's all linked to trade deals. So that really will be a big issue. But they're saying they're going to do it, and Robert Jenrick's making a speech later this morning. We'll be there. GB News will be there, and I think it's going to be a front-page story.
Do they really want to reopen Brexit, all these Brexit wounds, then?
Well, I
Makes people
suppose
very
they
nervous.
can, yeah, but I suppose they can say, look, Brexit didn't deliver what it should have done. We're going to deliver Brexit once and for all. That speaks for what a lot of people voted for Brexit because we wanted to limit migration, we wanted to get control of our borders. None of that's happened, so this is a start. But it'll be a very complicated process.
I think you're right, and there are also sort of heading off at the pass, if you like, those that might say, well, what about all the British citizens who are in the European Union that might be denied any benefits they're entitled to? They're now saying they'll step in and pay Brits abroad their benefits.
Yeah, and of course, the Reform will also point to the chaos that we're seeing at all our European Union airports when Britons are trying to leave because of the problems at passport control, which is all part of the Brexit punishment that's continuing. The EU have never forgiven us for leaving the European Union.
OK, Andrew Pearce, thank you very much. We'll see you again at 9:30 for a packed show, I'm sure. Well, let's speak now and get the thoughts of Shadow Housing Secretary Sir James Cleverly, who joins us now. Very good morning to you, Sir James. Thank you for joining us this morning. What is your reaction to Reform UK's plans to ban foreign nationals from claiming almost all types of benefits? We were speaking to Danny Krueger on the programme earlier, who said it would save £21 billion annually. Are you supportive of these plans?
I don't believe them. I don't believe they'll bring these in. Reform are all over. I don't want to spend the whole interview talking about another political party, but the fact is they're all over the place on benefits. They've been inconsistent. They flip-flopped. The Conservatives, when we put forward our proposals to reduce the benefits bill, Reform voted against that. So they've got no consistency on this. And the simple fact of the matter is that they haven't checked the implications of British nationals overseas. There'll be a lot of Brits, particularly in Spain and other places, who will not know what will happen to them if this is brought in. But the fact is, the only figure that we need to think about when it comes to Reform is that £5 million that Nigel Farage received. We've still got serious questions over that. The House of Commons, excuse me, the House of Commons will be... Excuse me.
Bless you.
The House of Commons will be looking at that... Thank you. We'll be looking at that donation. That's the only figure in my mind at the moment when I think about Reform.
Well, OK, so given your reluctance to further explore this, what could be popular policy that Reform are proposing here? Let's talk about what you do want to chat about, which is the issue around traveller sites, and clearly you're seeing many more of these traveller sites popping up. How serious is the problem, do you think?
Well, the issue of traveller sites, the abuse of the planning system, increased in Labour's first year in government by over 20%. And in response to that, they just stopped collecting the figures. So this is a problem which is escalating under Labour. What we're saying is that everybody in the country should play by the same rules and abide by the same laws, and those include planning laws. In my own constituency, in a place called Willows Green in Essex, some travellers bought a field. They did not have planning permission. They moved in over the bank holiday weekend, they poured concrete, connected up electricity, connected up water, moved onto the site in contravention of a subsequent legal injunction. This cannot be allowed. Nobody else would be allowed to abuse the planning system in such a way. So we have a plan to tighten the planning system, to tighten enforcement, to leave the ECHR so that people cannot abuse human rights legislation to basically circumvent the planning system.
And we talk water because there are reports this morning that Ofwat is considering plans by water companies to raise bills for customers during periods of drought. The plan would be to, it's described as surge pricing, to try and factor in water scarcity into bills. Is this something that you would accept? Is this something that needs to be banned, this dynamic pricing during droughts by water companies?
Well, water is an absolute necessity, and I am not at all comfortable with water companies using dry weather like this to surge price, to try and get more money out of consumers. We have a system in the UK where we have water bills which are balanced across the year so that people can manage their budgets properly. An unexpected bill for something as important as water, I think, would put a lot of people in a very difficult situation. There are things that the water companies could and should be doing. We're looking at things, for example, like better management of their pipe network to prevent leaks and that kind of stuff. That's the kind of thing that we should be looking at before they start trying to make more money out of people when there's dry weather and droughts like we're seeing at the moment.
Now, I don't know where you were on Friday when I'm sure your phone, like everyone else's, went buzzing with an alert telling us not to use barbecues and to be very careful, giving us health and safety advice effectively. Is this, do you think, a misuse of what this system was set up for in the first place?
This system was meant for emergency, life-threatening national situations. It's not there to give public information broadcasts. Adverts could have been taken out on social media, there could have been things on the TV, there could have been ministers going on the news. This was not an emergency situation. This dry weather did not suddenly happen overnight. The risk of wildfires did not suddenly happen overnight. It's quite clear this is another example of a Labour government drunk on power, abusing its position, abusing the mechanisms of the state to try and get ahead of the news cycle. I was in Stourbridge on Saturday talking to the people who have lost their homes because of wildfires. And the simple truth of the matter is that this kind of public information should have been done much, much earlier, and it shouldn't be using emergency channels like this, which are meant for very, very rare, serious, life-threatening and immediate emergencies rather than situations which have built up over weeks like this drought.
I know, James Clever, as former Home Secretary, you're only too aware of when this system should be used for the likes of a marauding terrorist attack to get people to safety. How concerned are you about this system being devalued by its use in the way as it was on Friday?
And this is the problem. You've absolutely hit the nail on the head. If people get into the habit of not looking at these alerts when they come through, if they think, oh, it's another pain in the backside nonsense announcement from government, they will stop looking at the emergency alert. They will just turn their phones off, move into a different, whatever. The whole point of this is that it is rarely used and that people pay attention when it is used. When you abuse a system like this, it devalues it massively, and more than that, it undermines its effectiveness. And this is an intrusive piece of technology, but it's there for an important reason, but it only should be used in real emergencies.
OK, so James, thank you for being so generous with your time this morning. Thank you for joining us on GB News Breakfast.
Really appreciate that. Cheers.
I think Sir James is suffering with a hay fever like me today.
And me too, yeah.
And you. We're all suffering today.
Feel for him. OK, let's have a look at some of the other stories coming into the GB newsroom.
And we start with breaking news overnight. The Hollywood actress Hayden Panettiere, who's best known for her roles in Heroes and Nashville, has died aged 36. A representative for the actress confirmed the death, saying she was an incredible light and a force of nature who brought immeasurable love and joy to all who knew her. The cause of death has not yet been announced.
Well, GB News can reveal that an Eritrean man who was convicted of raping a pensioner outside a North London church entered Britain illegally. 33-year-old Burke Desalegn was found guilty by a jury at Harrow Crown Court after they viewed CCTV footage capturing the 20-minute attack.
Britain is set for cooler, more changeable weather this week, with rain and thunderstorms possible in parts of the country. The Met Office has warned the wetter conditions are unlikely to be significant enough to ease drought conditions, though.
OK, time to get your weather update with Tom Morgan.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. Certainly a more changeable week of weather on the way out there this week. It's quite wet in some northern areas today. Southern areas will hold on to some sunshine for at least a while, but it will be turning more humid for all of us. So out there this morning, a few showers in the south and the southwest of England in particular. But for many parts of England and Wales and northeast Scotland, it will be a largely dry day. The best of the sunshine by this afternoon probably for parts of Wales, central, southern and southwestern parts of the UK. Turning quite wet though for Northern Ireland and western Scotland. The odd heavier burst of rain pushing in here through the afternoon. Quite a humid feel wherever you are out there this afternoon, and highs in the south 26 to 28 degrees Celsius, so another very warm day, particularly in the sunnier areas. Now out across northeastern parts of Scotland, it will be a lot fresher here, quite a cool feeling day with temperatures a little bit below average for August, but actually there'll be plenty of sunny spells out there on Monday afternoon for Shetland and Orkney. Turning increasingly wet though for western Scotland, the central belt, as we head towards the rush hour. And for Northern Ireland, some heavy bursts of rain pushing in here as well, particularly through this evening. Mostly dry at this point across Wales and southern parts of England, so plenty of evening sunshine here. Just a small chance of a shower for southeastern England for a time. Now through the course of tonight, the rain spreads its way northeastwards across Scotland and also southwards across England. So quite a wet night to come for many parts of the UK. The rain in the south quite showery, but several millimetres of rain possible in a few spots. So some welcome rain for the gardeners and the farmers. Degrees temperatures though, 15 to 18 degrees Celsius overnight, so quite a warm and humid start to Tuesday. Bit of uncertainty as to how quickly the rain clears away from southern England on Tuesday morning. It might just hang back a little bit longer than the graphics suggest at this stage. Northeastern Scotland will also stay fairly wet, particularly Shetland and Orkney. Otherwise, a mixture of sunny spells and scattered showers for northwestern areas, and mostly dry with hazy sunshine for parts of England and Wales. Not as warm as today, but still temperatures above average in the south, a cool and more blustery feel in the north.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Well, some welcome rain there. Let us know what you think.
Well, still to come, disability activist Kerry Riches is telling us why she's against Reform's plans to cut PIP payments.
But first, Reform UK is set to announce plans to ban foreign nationals from almost all forms of welfare. Do you think migrant benefits should be scrapped? We're going to be debating that next.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to stop. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Welcome back to GB News Breakfast. Now, Reform UK is promising a £50 billion benefit bill, partially by banning foreign nationals from claiming almost all forms of welfare.
Well, under the proposals, foreign nationals will no longer be entitled to universal credit, housing benefit, job seekers allowance, free childcare or disability benefits.
So our question is, should the government scrap benefits for all foreign nationals?
Well, here to debate this morning is pollster and academic Matt Goodwin and former Labour councillor Sebastian Sarlock. Morning, gentlemen. Good to see you both. Matt, let's start with you. Do you welcome this ban?
Oh, absolutely. I think this is much needed. Here are three facts that our viewers probably won't hear in the mainstream media. In Britain today, more than 1.3 million foreign nationals are currently claiming universal credit. The British people in the last 4 years alone spent over £50 billion providing welfare to foreign nationals, and more than 1 in 10 of all new social housing lets in England go to foreign nationals. Now, this really does matter because the whole idea of the social contract is that we provide support to people who we know and who are part of our national community. But increasingly, politicians in both the Labour Party and the Tories are doing the very opposite. They're asking British workers, people who are getting up every morning, going to work, to subsidise millions of people who are not British and often do not work at all. And that is a recipe for complete disaster.
Sebastian, isn't the truth of it that many people right across the country look at the benefit system and do believe that it's a system that is being abused by foreign nationals?
Well, the problem is, Matt's argument is based on a simple fallacy, which is that the majority of those foreign nationals, especially if you are an EU settled status member, are in work who are claiming universal credit. So they're not sat at home with their feet up. They're going to work. They're sadly just not earning enough to make ends meet, and that's where we're topping them up. It's also the case for British nationals. More than a third of them are in work who are claiming universal credit, but that figure is much, much higher if we're talking about European Union settled status members.
Matt, you're shaking your head there.
Yeah. Well, sorry. So the idea seems to be now from the left that the British people should put up with an immigration policy that firstly delivers a lot of people who don't even earn the average wage in our country. And they should then force the British people to subsidise those foreign nationals because they're often in low-skill, low-wage jobs. No, I'm sorry. The answer for our country is to put the British people first. Here's another stat you're not going to hear on the BBC. In recent data, 11,000 young British people were added to payroll jobs in this country, 11,000. How many non-European young people were added to payroll jobs in this country? Nearly 300,000. What is that telling you? It's telling you we now have a political class in this country that has given up prioritising British people because they would rather import masses of low-wage, low-skill migration from outside Europe and put our own people last. That is not the kind of country I want to live in. It's not the kind of country the British people want to live in. And what you hear from Sebastian is this acceptance of this disastrous status quo, that we should continue subsidising people who are not making a net contribution because that's the right thing to do. It's not the right thing to do. The right thing to do is put our own people first and build a genuine, prosperous, thriving, dynamic economy.
Sebastian?
Well, let's start with where we agree, Matt. I do think we should put our own people first, but the reality is that that can't happen overnight. And you're right that many, many, many people who come from abroad to work here work in low-skilled jobs. But let's look at the reality of what you're proposing. If we take those people away overnight, if we deport them or we remove their benefits so they can't work, then those jobs are unfilled. And they're jobs that people from Britain generally don't want to do because they're not paid very well. And that's, your waiters, your service people, your hospital porters, people we rely on to make the economy work and to make our lives work, will disappear. And that's going to have a really, really detrimental impact on society just to fulfill a bizarre ideological goal that some people within reform, or many people into reform, want to achieve.
Would we have a gap in the workplace, Matt?
We currently have 200,000 young British people who are not in education, not in employment, not in training. Everybody watching this show will know those people, those young Brits, because they'll see them cycling around their towns. What we need is to change the social contract, the settlement in this country. Reform UK today, the only political party with the courage to say this settlement that we have, whereby it pays more to be on welfare than to be in work, whereby the British people are forced to subsidise people who are not even from their country. What Reform UK are saying today is that this settlement no longer works and it needs to end. And it will end under a Reform government that will, for the first time ever, really, in modern history, say the national welfare state should be that. It should be a national welfare state for national citizens, for people whose families built this country, for people whose families have contributed to this country over decades. Because if we go down this line, we need to be clear where we're going. If we continue to turn Britain into an international cash machine, what will happen is more Brits, as you saw last year, 250,000 Brits got up and left. They said, I'm not going to stay here and subsidise people who are not working or who are not from my country. And they just left. And half of them were aged between 18 and 35. I don't want to see that happening in my country. I want to see British people really building a prosperous economy. And that starts with putting them first.
OK, Matt and Sebastian, thanks very much. Really appreciate your input.
Thanks, gentlemen. Well, let's stick with the topic of Reform's welfare announcement, shall we? Because they are planning to cut disability benefits for millions of people, which they say will save up to £22 billion annually.
Well, Kerry Riches, who has multiple sclerosis, says she relies on disability payments to get by, and a policy like this could be devastating. Kerry, and MS Society ambassador and broadcaster, joins us now to share her insight. Kerry, hi, good morning to you. I mean, how valuable is PIP for you, and could you not survive without it? Could there not be, we heard earlier today about more sort of practical help rather than actually a payment? Would that not help?
Mark, Please let me explain something to you, and I'm going to go in with the harsh truth on this. People will die if PIP payments are removed. This is what worries me about all of the governments in the UK, and this is why I do what I do. It's about education. You need to back, or not you obviously, they need to back off of PIP. PIP is an in-work, non-means tested benefit that keeps people in the workplace. You remove PIP, you removed adapted vehicles. I get no money from the government. I get an adapted vehicle because I've got multiple sclerosis and I cannot feel my legs from the knees down. You start to then remove, yes, their means to get to work. You remove mobility scooters, you remove their wheelchairs also. We've also got the current Labour government that are putting in £2 bus fares. Well, chance would be a nice thing. We can't even get on a bus, so we have to book adapted taxis. This is what worries me so much. It was not on my bingo card to get multiple sclerosis and become disabled at the age of 24. But here I am being disabled, living in the world. I've always worked a full-time job, and they are saying that 1 in 4 people will be disabled in their lifetime. I really think they're barking up the wrong tree here, and like I said, lives will be lost unless that's what they want. If they want to start removing PIP from people, there are other ways to reform. I've never met someone that's on PIP that thinks the actual PIP process works. Speak to me, work with me. We need to stop the unnecessary assessments. Someone like myself that's got multiple sclerosis, award me with a lifetime award. Stop reassessing me. Ensure you've got a qualified assessors also, so we're not keeping on having to do tribunals. I'm really passionate about this. You remove PIP, people will be isolated, people will die, people will stop working, and then they will need more help from the government.
But there is this argument, isn't it, and there is this school of thought, Kerry, that the system is just not fit for purpose and that it needs reform. What do you say to that?
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly, Ellie, I absolutely do. But let's not forget here, only less than 1% of PIP cases are fraud. This is the wrong benefit to target. I cannot stress that enough. There are other ways to reform PIP. Like I've said, unnecessary constant assessments. To make sure that we've got qualified people doing the assessments, because I've had people come into my home and ask me what multiple sclerosis even is. It's an insult. Please make sure we've got the right people assessing us, and then we wouldn't have a lot of, going to tribunal, which costs lots and lots more money.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying 1% are fraud. That's the cases that we know of. Obviously, if they're not all being investigated, you don't necessarily know the true scale of any fraud that's being perpetrated here.
Mark, I do this job. I've got hundreds of thousands of followers across all of my social media platforms. I'm yet to meet someone that receives PIP that shouldn't. It's an incredibly difficult process to get. You do not get PIP lightly. You honestly don't. And when I see these stupid people saying, I got it and I haven't even got anything wrong with me, it's a load of rubbish.
OK, Kerry, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Kerry. Cheers. Well, now, if you're heading off to work this morning, here's all the traffic and travel information you need to know.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. There is a collision on the M25 clockwise between junctions 9 and 10 in Leatherhead, with slow traffic. The M5 southbound between junctions 19 and 20 in Portishead is affected by a collision. In Scotland, the M80 northbound has queuing and lane restrictions at junction 4 in Mollinsburn. Across Wales, the M48 eastbound from J2 Newhouse to J1 Ost is congested with possible delays. And on the trains, Greater Anglia has major disruption between Shenfield and Southend Victoria, with further disruption between Witham and Chelmsford. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense. and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
The Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's Tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong Tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is...
you're
the failure is...
deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. It's sport time. Coitie's here.
Have you enjoyed the European Championships?
Yeah.
Yeah,
very much. I think we're very good at it.
Yeah,
Team GB.
Yeah, it really has been good.
The Golden Girls.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, and also I should mention before we go to this, the European Championships, the swimming championships, which wasn't going to be here. I wasn't going to mention this. But we have to mention the fact that how well the Britons did in that. And the women just did unbelievable. They were the best team in Europe when it came to swimming. But with the athletics, final night in Birmingham, Amy Hunt, now she is going to be, well, if she's not a superstar now, the star is getting higher in the sky and she's going to be a world superstar. She won the 100 metres, the 200 metres, the 4x100 metres, and then anchored the mixed 4x100 metres, which is 2 men, 2 women, which they're hoping they'll include in the Olympics, which I think is a really good event.
And tonight?
It's done.
Oh, it's done.
That's it. It's all over. You're missing it already, aren't you? Yeah, that's it. Last night was last night.
Oh.
The last night was last night. Anyway, let's hear from Amy. This is what she said after winning her 4th gold medal.
It's so beyond the bounds of my dreams. I'm just so kind of euphoric right now. And I just can't believe it's happened. I think it will all sink in at kind of a later time, maybe on the podium, I don't know. But yeah, I think I'm just so proud of myself and the way that I've handled this week. The emotions of it, the recovery, kind of being strict and staying disciplined after all the highs and just staying true to myself and true to the job that I went out there and did.
You know, when it comes to the relay, Chris Akabusi told me this once. Our great friend Chris, and that is, and I've often said that when you're actually out there and you're running, because, you know, there's all the sound around you, but when you're running on a track, what do you hear? You know, do you hear the sound of your feet on the track? Do you hear... And he said, it's a whistle. So when you're holding the baton, as you run like that, and he said this is when he won in the World Championships, and he was going for Antonio Pettigrew, who was the world champion at the time, he ran past him. He said you could hear this... And that was the sound of the air going through the baton that you can hear. And that's the only thing you can hear. Just thought I'd share that with you.
And it's incredibly complex, grabbing that baton
it is.
At full tilt.
Well, don't you remember doing it at school? You hold your arm out and then they should run now. But even now, And they even mentioned, and this Amy Hunt said this yesterday as well, is the fact it was the first time they'd actually done the change. It was Jeremiah Azu and Zonil Hughes that handed it to her. They'd never actually practiced the change. What? So it was, which is bizarre. It was very tight between them. But anyway, they won the gold, so it was great. Georgia Hunter-Bell, 1,500 metres. She's been on the show plenty of times. She is another superstar at the moment. She seems to win every race she's in. And she's now going for the Ultimate World Championships, which happens in September in Budapest.
Do we know where Amy Hunt got her tiara from?
Yes, I think it was Garage, the jewellers of Regent Street, I would imagine. I don't know. Why? Do you like the look of that?
Somebody just said she looked very silly wearing that tiara, but I think maybe she got it from someone in the crowd.
Yeah, because, well, the thing is, they did it with some of the fellas as well. They gave them a crown, so they got a little tiara.
Oh, I have seen that, yeah.
Yeah, and this is after... She didn't run in the tiara. Oh, it didn't look silly in the tiara. I wouldn't say said that to the Queen, do you know what I mean? It's jewellery, it's royalty. She's athletics
She's
royalty.
queen of the track.
She is queen of the track, absolutely. Quick one, Community Shield. Arsenal beat Manchester City 3-0.
Hey.
Oh, I tell you what, they do look very good. They're going to take some stopping in the Premier League this year.
No.
West Ham in the Championship, they were 2-0 up against Burnley, threw it away with 7 minutes to go, and it was 2-2. But I do have some birthdays for you.
Yay.
We haven't played for a while. Famous birthdays, sporting birthdays. Right, OK, let's start with the first one. I don't want to talk about Arsenal anymore, but it's Thierry Henry's birthday today. Legend, French legend, one of the great footballers the Premier League's ever seen.
45.
45 for Thierry.
49.
Is the correct answer.
Knew
Very
it
good.
in my bones.
Very good start. Right, let's go with another one. Olympic figure skating champion from 1980, Lake Placid, the great Robin Cousins. There he is when he won the Sports Personality of the Year in 1980.
Cousins.
How old is Robin Cousins? Is that me? Oh, no, that's Robin. That's Robin there. So how old is Robin Cousins today?
68.
68?
65.
69.
Oh, that was so close.
He was 68 yesterday as well.
I was very close.
Right, go with another one. We've got two more. Former Manchester City goalkeeper Edison. Brazilian international, now playing at Fenerbahce. He left last season, so how old is Edison? Goalkeeper.
Is he still playing football?
He's still playing football. He's left Man City, gone to Fenerbahce, so he's playing in Turkey. So he's
towards the
autumn of his career, possibly.
Of his career.
But goalkeepers go on a bit longer, so as a goalkeeper, maybe not so old.
34.
OK, good. Not quite right, but very good.
37.
33.
I'm really close.
You're one out twice and on the money once. Finally, let's go with the showbiz one.
Oh.
You talking to me? Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro.
How old is he? He doesn't look really bothered.
83.
He doesn't look really...
81.
82.
Hold on, what did you say?
I said 83.
What are you going to go with? Because 82 or 83, one of them is correct. Which one are you going to go for, Ellie? What's it going to be?
82.
83.
No! That was my first answer. Can I go back to that?
I'll accept your first answer. You've played a blinder.
That was,
very
I think,
good.
One of my best rounds.
And for those that were just startled as you get ready in the morning, that was Ellie.
Sorry. Hoping to win, getting competitive. And I did win.
That was her version of the phone alarm system.
Yeah, on Friday.
Very good, though. Very good performance.
No, thank you. I
Very
enjoyed
good.
that, yeah.
It was Amy Hunt-esque when it came to birthdays. Very
beautiful.
Very good. Now, still to come, guess what the latest anti-ageing trend is?
Yeah, we'll be telling you that and much more next.
Clue?
With Christo Bootbass and James Rampton. Morning, gentlemen. But first, here's your forecast across Europe.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean all clear skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Hello there. Apart from the odd isolated thunderstorm, most of the Mediterranean will see plenty of dry, hot and sunny weather over the next few days. A bit of a breeze though for Madeira, perhaps bringing the odd shower here on Tuesday. Otherwise, Spain and Portugal, cloudless skies, lots of sunshine here. Perhaps the odd afternoon and evening thunderstorm across the spine of Italy, parts of the Balkans and Greece and Turkey. But these mostly inland, coastal regions remaining generally dry, sunny and hot. And the outlook is for temperatures to remain in the low to mid-30s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Music, as anybody knows, from Scotland or Ireland, it is very, very important to us all here. Most of us can lift a musical instrument, and actually there's a great children's band on stage at the minute, but I've managed to capture some people here. Where are you from?
We're from Dungannon.
And why are you here at the Fla?
We're here just for the music, the atmosphere, and just the all-round celebration. It's a very proud moment for Belfast, and it's lovely to have the children out on their summer holidays. And I have a daughter who is playing and another one who's coming along to sing.
Well, let's hear you play. What are you going to play for us?
I'm going to play in the share.
Well, go ahead.
Thank you.
The People's Channel, Dubes & Co. Weekdays from 6 p.m.
People that have lived in London have chosen to move out because they don't feel... It's not about feeling safe as much. It's about feeling that they don't recognise London as the capital city of England anymore.
Well, I can't answer for those people. I think, you know, there are places all over the country that change. You know, there is a constant churn. There are parts of London that were once terribly, you know, poverty-stricken and that are now gentrified and are full of completely different places, to the point that local people, local communities have been squeezed out. There are places, you know, which have changed because the demographic changes. But, I mean, that happens everywhere.
You can say that about Bradford, you can say that about parts of Birmingham and these kind of things, some of these areas as well. But if you look at London, it's always been a bit of a melting pot.
Yeah.
It's the capital of a trading nation. It's why we have one of the best stock exchanges in the world, why we have the most investment, you know, foreign investment into this country.
The People's Channel. Patrick Christie's Tonight. Weekdays from 9 p.m.
Michelle, how do you feel when you look back at that 5 years there, from where we first started in and out of those lockdowns?
Well, I've got to say, hang on. I've got to, right, first things first. I've worked on live TV for half a decade and I still forget to talk into a microphone.
Easily done.
What can I say? Well, you look back on some of that and you actually forget some of the absolute ridiculousness that has gone on in the last 5 years. And I think you summed it up well. When you go back to that period of the lockdown, the ridiculous control, the enforced vaccine mandates, you could feel like you was just going mad in your own little world. And to me, GB News, we really, really came into our own.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Let's take a quick look at the newspaper front pages on this Monday morning.
Firstly, The Sun. It's been revealed that Henry Novak's killer will be allowed prison-to-prison video calls with his mum. Their headline reads, "Call this justice?"
Front page of the Daily Mail this morning, ministers under pressure to close a legal loophole allowing sex offenders to change their identity. It's after a paedophile fireman used as many as 20 aliases to conceal a string of convictions.
In the Daily Express, a leading charity has urged people living with early-stage dementia to take part in clinical trials as scientists hail a golden era for research.
And in the Metro, campaigners have hit out at government-backed plans to allow water companies to raise prices during droughts. It's after one of the driest summers on record.
Well, joining us now to go through the papers are the journalist and broadcaster Crystal Fufat and political commentator James Rampton. Crystal, first of all, Sadiq Khan, he's wringing even more money out of us.
Honestly, there aren't many politicians that I can genuinely say that I cannot stand, but Sadiq Khan is one of them, because he is now raking in more than £750 an hour from drivers caught in bus lanes. Now, anyone who lives in London, and you might think this is just a London-centric story, but it really isn't, because the major cities around the UK look at what happens in London and then they like to follow suit. Yeah. And obviously London has made many of the bus lanes 24-hour, and that's because of, during COVID, they said it was going to be temporary. Of course, that was nonsense. And now, in the last year, it was 6.6 million from nearly 55,000 motorists straying into bus lanes. This was up from 4.3 million the year before. And of course, the daily congestion charge, that's gone up to £21. We've got the £12.50 a day emission zone for older cars as well, the ultra-low emission zone. So coming to a city near you, folks, the cash cow of motorists will be continuing.
Oh. He wants to make a hostile environment for motorists in London, but at the same time, milk them for every penny they've got.
Well, he's achieving his aim. You could say that. And we were having this discussion off air. I mean, I do have a car, but I very rarely drive in London because I find it so infuriating. Yeah. I mean, my mum lives, it should be half an hour's drive away, but it always takes an hour. So I just go on the tube. So in that sense, he's achieved his aim.
So you're letting...
Well, I am obviously a traitor to the cause, but I do believe that the tube, and this may sound London-centric, is a fantastic system. But
it's far from reliable. This is the thing. You can force people off the roads, but when you put them onto a bus and a rail system that frequently suffers issues around signal failures, strikes, and all manner of...
And safety, and people feeling safe as well.
Exactly.
Well, yes. I mean, I live near the Victoria line, which is the most popular line, and it's always busy. But a train comes every minute in the rush hour, and I think that's
running.
It runs pretty much all the time because I use it a lot because I'm near a Victoria Line station, and I think it is pretty reliable. And also, it means you can be guaranteed from my house to get to the centre of London in 15 minutes, which is amazing.
James, let's have a look at something totally different, shall we? This is in the Times this morning. What have the Green Party been focusing on?
Well, this is a very good story, I must say, because they were often tagged with being obsessed with Gaza and trans rights, the Greens, certainly in London. But now, Green councillors across the country are branching out. They're finding new ways to annoy people, one of which is they tried to make the River Wensum in Norwich freedom of the city. So they said, oh, the river is a vital part of the city, we should give it the freedom of the city. Have they not got anything better to do? That seems completely bizarre. There's also a big issue with pigeons in Norwich, but the Greens are not allowing them to be culled. They're supported by a group called Peck Savers, which I think is rather good, and somebody turned up at a council meeting dressed as a pigeon. And you just think, wait a minute, you know, the world's on fire, there are various wars around the place, and they're obsessing about how to deal with pigeons. It does seem quite bizarre, their priorities, but they have proposed pigeon contraception. What? I would like to see that in action. Yeah. I would like to see somebody try and... No, this is a family show, but I cannot understand how that would happen. But it does seem to me that their priorities are completely upside down.
That's what some Green councillors have advocated. They've said that they want to set aside a second for the feasibility of pigeon contraception. There aren't any products that are licensed yet, but this is their solution to the pigeon problem in Norwich city centre. And you're quite right. And there was a homelessness problem as well, so they got rid of the armrests from benches to make it more uncomfortable for homeless people. And you just think, well, people just want their bins collected. They want their roads to be well maintained.
Can we focus on the basics?
That's what they want. They want good value for money for their council tax. I don't think anyone is sat at home thinking, gosh, pigeons need to have better birth control.
Yes.
Pigeon condoms.
Yes. I mean, Alan Partridge is famously from Norwich, and some of these ideas could have come from his mind. They're so bizarre.
Oh, God, it's absolutely bonkers. Christo, I don't know if this is going to make us feel any better, but Gen Z are moaning.
Yes, this is an interesting one. This is in today's Mail, by the way, and this is the anxiety being felt by Gen Z because of the fact that they are having a quarter-life crisis.
Right.
So, you know, I don't know who here, I would never want to ask who here is of the age of having a midlife crisis, but a quarter life...
Well, that was years ago I had mine, yeah. Like 50 years ago.
And yet I am not nearly old enough to have had
Obviously
mine.
not, no.
Yeah, this is a Gen Z quarter-life crisis that is being had by them. Apparently, it's the next stage of education, housing problems. This is according to the University of Greenwich. And Do you know, I think, what the problem is? Because I actually think some of the problems that they seem to be stressing about are quite valid. If you are a young person nowadays, trying to accumulate capital is quite difficult. Trying to get on the housing ladder, quite difficult. Successive governments have failed. However, I can't help but feel like there is perhaps a lot of time spent on the anxiety around that rather than, just go out and try and make it happen somehow. You can either sit at home and get anxious about it all, or you can say, you know what, I need to just somehow make it happen by working harder, getting another job, coming up with a plan, putting money into an ISA. I need to come up with a way of making this happen. And that will then, hopefully, release some of your anxiety.
Possibly.
Am I crazy? You're looking at me like I'm crazy.
Well, I've got 3 Gen Z children, and they...
Are they in crisis?
They are all in jobs. They've got good jobs, but goodness me, it's hard to find. Another relative of mine has made 100 job applications. She's got a first in history from Leeds University, very good university, and she's got an MA with distinction, and she can't get a job. And I just think that is so dispiriting for her. She's done her brilliant best academically, and there are no jobs for her. I think there is a crisis, and I absolutely understand the anxiety that it's causing.
Well, listen, I get that. It's certainly very concerning in terms of where we're going in terms of the jobs market with AI and everything that has that impact. Very briefly, because we've been told to wrap, tell us about Scotland and the bagpipes.
Well, I'm afraid it's the World Cup all over again, Mark. That Scotland, you would have thought, would be the world's greatest bagpipers. But no. It's in fact a university, Fraser University, which is at least a Scottish name, in Canada, has won the World Bagpipes Championships. I mean, it's not been a great summer for Scotland, has it? And this is the nadir.
All right, James, Krista, we're out of time, I'm afraid. What a blow for Scotland. Let's have a check at the weather.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. Certainly a more changeable week of weather on the way out there this week. It's quite wet in some northern areas today. Southern areas will hold on to some sunshine for at least a while, but it will be turning more humid for all of us. So out there this morning, a few showers in the south and the southwest of England in particular. But for many parts of England and Wales and northeast Scotland, it will be a largely dry day. The best of the sunshine by this afternoon probably for parts of Wales, central, southern and southwestern parts of the UK. Turning quite wet though for Northern Ireland and western Scotland. The odd heavier burst of rain pushing in here through the afternoon. Quite a humid feel wherever you are out there this afternoon, and highs in the south 26 to 28 degrees Celsius, so another very warm day, particularly in the sunnier areas. Now, out across northeastern parts of Scotland, it will be a lot fresher here. Quite a cool feeling day with temperatures a little bit below average for August, but actually there'll be plenty of sunny spells out there on Monday afternoon for Shetland and Orkney. Turning increasingly wet though for western Scotland, the central belt, as we head towards the rush hour. And for Northern Ireland, some heavy bursts of rain pushing in here as well, particularly through this evening. Mostly dry at this point across Wales and southern parts of England, so plenty of evening sunshine here. Just a small chance of a shower for southeastern England for a time. Now, through the course of tonight, the rain spreads its way northeastwards across Scotland and also southwards across England. So quite a wet night to come for many parts of the UK. The rain in the south quite showery, but several millimetres of rain possible in a few spots. So some welcome rain for the gardeners and the farmers. Look at these temperatures though, 15 to 18 degrees Celsius overnight, so quite a warm and humid start to Tuesday. Bit of uncertainty as to how quickly the rain clears away from southern England on Tuesday morning. It might just hang back a little bit longer than the graphics suggest at this stage. Northeastern Scotland will also stay fairly wet, particularly Shetland and Orkney. Otherwise, a mixture of sunny spells and scattered showers for northwestern areas, and mostly dry with hazy sunshine for parts of England and Wales. Not as warm as today, but still temperatures above average in the south, a cool and more blustery feel in the north.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for the thousands of you who are becoming friends of GB News each and every week.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M27 westbound is closed between junctions 10 and 9 at Whiteley. The M5 southbound is affected by a collision between junctions 19 and 20 at Portishead. The M4 westbound is affected by a collision between junctions 5 and 6 at Langley. In Scotland, the M8 westbound has queuing and lane restrictions between junctions 14 and 13 by Proven Ray D. Across Wales, the M48 eastbound from J2 Newhouse to J1 Ost is congested with possible delays, and on the trains, Greater Anglia has major disruption between Shenfield and Southend Victoria. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
It's the final week to see how you could win over £65,000 in prizes. You could be our latest Great British Giveaway winner. First of all, we want to give you £60,000 in tax-free cash. Plus, you'll also receive a fine gold bar worth over £5,000.
For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray, are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines. The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Reform UK says it plans to slash £50 billion from the benefits bill.
The party calls for a ban on foreign nationals claiming welfare, labelling the current system immoral. Earlier, Reform UK MP Danny Krueger told us that illegal immigrants should never be entitled to benefits.
Certainly people who arrived here yesterday illegally should not be claiming any benefits at all, and our policy is to ensure they are immediately detained and deported.
Well, Reform UK is also pledging to cut disability benefits, the tune of £22 billion annually, with a new report finding that half of claimants would swap PIP for better support. We're asking, is Reform's plan the bold action that Britain needs, or a recipe for pushing the most vulnerable to breaking point? Well, earlier we spoke to the Shadow Housing Secretary, Sir James Cleverly.
They're all over the place on benefits. They've been inconsistent, they've flip-flopped.
Well, tributes are pouring in after the death of 36-year-old Hollywood actress Hayden Panettiere, known for her roles in Nashville and Heroes.
Planning rules are getting a shake-up as part of the Housing Secretary Angela Rayner's bid to turbocharge house building. Would you live right next to a train station? We're asking the Housing Minister Matthew Pennycook just that in a few minutes' time.
Residents in a small Welsh village say they're relieved after the Home Office paused plans to move migrants into new build homes there. But will the government scrap the plan for good?
The oil and gas industry is urging the Prime Minister to approve two controversial North Sea developments as the government prepares to make a final decision on whether the Rosebank oil field can go ahead. Well, earlier, we also put this to Reform UK's Danny Krueger.
Britain is in an absolute economic crisis because of our energy costs. We have the highest electricity bills in the world.
Could cutting the cost of parking in towns and cities unlock the Great British High Street's full potential? Locals in Bridge House in West Yorkshire certainly think so.
Parking going up, you know, 1 minute it's 50p, 60p, next minute it's £1.50.
The cost is excessive, you know, £1.50 for an hour, and you're never sure an hour's enough.
Quite a lot of shops and businesses have had to cut staff down.
Heard there's a big change on the way? Find out if there's any rain in the forecast where you live in your full forecast coming up later.
Good morning, it's just gone 9 o'clock. I'm Ellie Costello.
And I'm Mark White. Welcome to GB News Breakfast.
John's been in touch. We're talking about this emergency alert that went off on our phones on Friday evening. Gave so many of us a huge shock, didn't it? We weren't expecting that at all. Apart from you, who'd been watching the news and was well prepared.
I was asleep.
I was asleep at the time and had a right shock.
Quite loud.
It was very loud, yeah. And went off more than once on many people's phones, actually.
Just the once on my phone, but that was once and annoying enough.
Yeah. Well, John says no one's mentioned the fact that the national alert sent out last Friday in Wales was actually sent out in Welsh, which very few people could actually read or understand, and hence created more panic in some. It was only half an hour later when we actually received the alert in English. And if this had been a real alert, most Welsh people would be dead because they didn't understand the initial alarm.
Well, we can now get maybe a little bit more on this, actually.
Yeah.
The Housing Minister, Matthew Pennycook, who joins us live. Good morning to you, Minister. On that issue of this nationwide alert that was sent out on Friday evening, that just devalues what this system is meant to be for, dire emergencies. It wasn't a dire emergency on Friday, was it?
No, I'm afraid I couldn't disagree more. I think it's really important for your viewers to know that the issuing of that emergency alert was made following requests for the fire and rescue services, who are still dealing with wildfires across the country. There are currently 12 being responded to as we speak. Those alerts are designed to alert people to a danger to life or property. We've seen what happened to the properties devastated in Stourbridge, so it was an appropriate use of the alert. Of course, we've got to be judicious and sparing in the use of that.
Minister, you were not telling people to avoid a certain area. You were handing out health and safety advice on barbecues and alike.
We're telling people to not start open fires, to be very careful about how they dispose of cigarettes. That's absolutely right. And if that alert prevented the loss of one home, if it helped keep people safe, I think it was worth it. But of course, as I say, we've got to use those emergency alerts judiciously and sparingly. But I think it was entirely appropriate to issue them following the request of the fire and rescue services to do so.
Can we talk about water? And in this time of drought, in this time of heat waves, we've just had 5 heat waves pretty much back to back. Off the back of all of this, we understand that Ofwat, which is the sector's regulator, is looking at plans for water companies to be allowed to raise bills for customers in times of drought. They're describing it as surge pricing, and the plan would be that it would factor in water scarcity into charges. Is that something that the government would accept? Do you think that that is an acceptable way for water companies to behave and to treat their customers, or is the government going to intervene and block this?
No, there's no current plans on the part of the government for surge pricing in respect of water bills. I've got to say, in general terms, customers, including I'm sure yourselves, including me, have seen their bills go up and up and up over recent years as we've watched the number of serious pollution incidents reach record levels, leaks abound aplenty. This government is on the side of customers. We're not going to allow customers to be used as a blank cheque. Any changes to charging schedules would have to be entirely fair. And this Prime Minister has made a particular point about saying that we need greater public control over essential services, including water. He's absolutely right. We've got to do what we can within the context of exploring that greater public control to ensure bills are kept at fair levels.
Minister, can I ask you about the new system that you want to introduce to fast-track the use of brownfield sites near rail stations for new housing. We've heard this before, haven't we?
Well, we've heard it before in the sense that we published a consultation in December last year. This is the outcome of that consultation. We're finalising the proposals following feedback by publishing a new national planning policy framework. This is, if you like, the culmination of a 2-year sustained effort to revamp our planning system to ensure it's delivering housing need in full and unleashing economic growth. And one of the proposals in that new framework is that when suitable proposals come forward on land around train stations, tram stations, that the answer to those suitable proposals is a default yes, and in principle support for those proposals, because this is some of the most sustainable land in the country in terms of development of new homes and opportunities. And we write that the weight of national policy sits behind that. Now, that doesn't mean these are automatic permissions. It doesn't mean that local democratic oversight is removed. People still have a say. But it's about being clearer in terms of national planning policy about what type of development is appropriate where.
We've got the Tories and Reform UK both saying that this is in direct contradiction of what Andy Burnham has been talking about all this time, which is devolution and that agenda that he's very clearly set out since becoming Prime Minister. James Cleverly, the Shadow Housing Secretary, saying that you're forcing councils to build communities where you say so and in the wrong areas because you're refusing to build them in the right ones. Richard Tice, Reform UK, says far from empowering local councils who know their communities well, you're stripping power from the people who actually live there and handing it back to Whitehall. What do you say of that criticism?
We're not stripping power from local communities. As I've said, there's no removal of local democratic oversight. Each individual planning application will have to be considered on its merits and on the basis of the material considerations at play in any given case. But as has always been the case, the National Planning Policy Framework is a material consideration, and this government has overhauled it to ensure that we're promoting sustainable development. I come back to the point that land in reasonable walking distance of stations within settlements and well-connected stations outside of existing settlements, including in the Greenbelt, they're some of the most sustainable locations for development in the country, well connected, able to provide new homes and opportunities and boost economic growth. And we're absolutely unashamed about reforming the system to support that. It will be obviously for mayors and for local authorities to consider individual applications. As I've said, this isn't auto permission, but it's putting the weight of national policy by revamping that framework behind this type of development.
OK, Matthew Pennycook, thanks very much for joining us this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Now, 10 minutes past 9, just time to tell you about the Great British Giveaway. You've just got until Friday for your chance to win £60,000 in cash and a real gold bar. Here are all of the details that you need.
Welcome to All Asante by Domes Resorts. There's just 4 days left to see how you could win big in our golden summer celebration. And you could be enjoying a golden year with an incredible £60,000 to be won. That's tax-free cash that you'll get to spend on anything you like. What would you do with it? You could relax knowing that we've got those day-to-day financial pressures sorted. Or find yourself celebrating in the lap of five-star luxury, somewhere like here, the Spritzeria. Plus, we'll give you a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000 that you can keep or gift to a loved one. Make sure you don't miss out as lines close on Friday.
For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Now, a tiny Welsh village was left to outrage after it was revealed that the Home Office planned to house asylum seekers in its old village hall.
But now the government says it's listening to local concerns and has paused the plans. But will it scrap it altogether?
Well, let's speak now to our national reporter, Sophie Reaper, who joins us now from Granant in Flintshire. Very good morning to you, Sophie. Obviously, residents will be hoping that this means the plan is scrapped for good.
Indeed, good morning to you both. It's been a week of two halves for the people of this tiny Welsh village, where initially they were in uproar when they learned of these plans, which in fact were put into place about 6 months ago, but they only learned about it last week. And yet over the weekend, the Home Office, as you say, has now said they've paused the plans, but now they're wondering, is it just a pause or will it be a full scrapping of the plans as they're hoping for? Well, joining me to talk about this morning is former Member of Welsh Parliament, Gareth Davies. Gareth, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Really appreciate it. Now, this morning when we arrived, we heard about that the plans had been paused. And yet when we arrived on site, we could see just over your shoulder there, a 24-hour security system was just, the finishing touches were just being put onto that. What's your response to that? Because obviously, does that suggest perhaps that the plans may have been paused, but they will continue? But also, on the flip side of that, how important is resident safety here in Granant?
Yeah, well, the news of the pausing is very subjective, and it's reactionary, I think, to the to the heightened media sort of presence and public scrutiny of the news of the plans to use this as housing for asylum seekers. What we need, I think, now is is less fluffy language and more answers, from the Home Office, whether that's directed directly from them or through the local authority, Flintshire County Council. I think the people of Granant need answers. They need to know exactly what's going on, and the sooner that can happen, the better. In terms of the CCTV system here, obviously, regardless of people's opinions, I think public safety is the main concern, and usually is the main reason for installing such things. And I think the safety of the residents of Granant is the priority, and if that can be achieved through the installation of that CCTV equipment, then I don't think anybody can argue against some better public safety at a time of heightened tensions within this community.
Now, just really quickly, Flintshire County Council have said that it's not illegal immigrants, it's asylum seekers, people who've come to this country to be safer. What would you say to that?
What I would say in terms of in response to that is that obviously it's a big subject. It's very divisive. It causes a lot of public debate, a lot of scrutiny. So I think but the Flintshire County Council are almost acting as if this is a done deal. The public of Granant haven't been consulted over this. They've been blindsided. To put a finer word on it. So what we need to see really is Flintshire County Council being representative of residents' concerns as their local authority, whether that's, again, as I say, directly through Flintshire County Council or via the UK Government through the Home Office, because I think it's important to understand as well that the Home Office do possess the powers to override local authorities and put ultimately not go through the tried and tested means of local democracy. So when these properties were put into place in 2024, when the plans were initially made, there was no reference to it being used for asylum accommodation, and therefore residents of Granant have been blindsided and need full transparency over this matter.
Gareth, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and that is the word of the day, is that residents were blindsided. It's going to be really interesting to see where the Home Office go from there. Will it be scrapped, or will asylum seekers be moved into these houses here in Granant?
OK, Sophie Reaper, thank you very much.
Well, in response, a government spokesperson on behalf of the Home Office said, "We're working to fairly house asylum seekers across the country, working closely with local authorities and listening to local concerns to reduce the impact on communities."
We're closing every asylum hotel and moving asylum seekers into basic accommodation, including ex-military sites.
Well, still to come, GB News has been in West Yorkshire asking locals whether cuts to parking charges could help boost our high streets. That's next. This is GB News Breakfast with Ellie and Mark.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray, are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines. The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter? So that's a very live question. Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Welcome back. It's 20 minutes past 9. Now, is the key to unlocking the potential on Britain's high street actually cutting parking charges?
Well, in Brighouse, West Yorkshire, traders are calling for the council to take action on parking costs, claiming the £1.50 charge an hour is turning locals away. Here's a taste of what some of those locals have been telling us.
Parking going up, you know, 1 minute it's 50 pence, 60 pence, next minute it's £1.50.
The cost is excessive, you know, £1.50 for an hour, and you're never sure an hour's enough.
Quite a lot of shops and businesses have had to cut staff down.
Well, we're joined now by partner of Save the High Street, Alex Schleckman. Very good morning to you, Alex. Do you think in order to save the high street, we need to cut parking charges?
Well, thanks for having me. Look, firstly, parking absolutely matters, and in some towns more than others. During periods of substantial roadworks, like in Bridgehouse, the temporary lifting or reduction of charges does provide a really important relief and sends an important signal from the council that they are actually backing the traders. And so, look, this has a real impact, particularly when it's backed by clear signage and strong coordinated activity around promotions from the council, the community and the businesses affected. But in general, though, we need to be careful. Better or even free parking alone is not going to regenerate Britain's high streets. The biggest barriers are often a whole wide range of other things. The mix of businesses, the business rates, the property costs, the vacant units, safety, the condition of the public realm, and a lack of practical support for businesses trying to open or expand. So it's part of the mix, but it's not the whole solution.
And parking, of course, is a significant revenue bringer as well for local authorities. Isn't there a danger if you force local authorities to cancel those charges that they just heap the money on elsewhere, on council tax and business rates, for instance?
Yeah, so look, the revenue raised from parking is supporting all kinds of local services, cleaning, enforcement, other town centre services, and they need that revenue to pay for other things. That's true, yeah, and there are ways of balancing the books elsewhere. The other consideration here is that blanket free parking can actually result in negative consequences. So sometimes commuters or employees occupying all the best spaces and leaving less space for the actual customers themselves. The better options are often looking at things like free first hour, validated parking, lower off-peak charges, and sort of better short stay provision generally, targeting that consumer market, targeting the people who are actually coming to spend money on the high street and rewarding them for doing so.
OK, Alex Shagman, really good to get your thoughts on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. OK, Britain's newsroom's coming right up. Andrew Pearce and Miriam Cates join us now.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, you two. What have you got for us?
Well, we're going to be focusing on these proposed reform disability benefits policy. But what does it mean for EU immigrants who've been here for decades?
That's the big question, because they are going to break down this agreement thrashed out painfully and agonisingly by successive governments. But the EU settled says EU migrants who are living here will not get benefits under the reform plan if they can make it work.
And they're already saying that they would give benefits to Brits in European countries. So they're forecasting or foreseeing that there could be some problems ahead.
Certainly will be, but they're on the right path, aren't they? The benefits bill has to be cut,
It is. They're
and that's what
absolutely
they're
right
saying.
about that. Well, all that's coming up on Britain's Newsroom after your weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. Certainly a more changeable week of weather on the way out there this week. It's quite wet in some northern areas today. Southern areas will hold on to some sunshine for at least a while, but it will be turning more humid for all of us. So out there this morning, a few showers in the south and the southwest of England in particular. But for many parts of England and Wales and northeast Scotland, it will be a largely dry day. The best of the sunshine by this afternoon probably for parts of Wales, central, southern and southwestern parts of the UK. Turning quite wet though for Northern Ireland and western Scotland. The odd heavier burst of rain pushing in here through the afternoon. Quite a humid feel wherever you are out there this afternoon, and highs in the south 26 to 28 degrees Celsius, so another very warm day, particularly in the sunnier areas. Now, out across northeastern parts of Scotland, it will be a lot fresher here. Quite a cool feeling day with temperatures a little bit below average for August, but actually there'll be plenty of sunny spells out there on Monday afternoon for Shetland and Orkney. Turning increasingly wet though for western Scotland, the central belt, as we head towards the rush hour. And Northern Ireland, some heavy bursts of rain pushing in here as well, particularly through this evening. Mostly dry at this point across Wales and southern parts of England, so plenty of evening sunshine here. Just a small chance of a shower for southeastern England for a time. Now, through the course of tonight, the rain spreads its way northeastwards across Scotland and also southwards across England. So quite a wet night to come for many parts of the UK. The rain in the south quite showery, but several millimetres of rain possible in a few spots. So some welcome rain for the gardeners and the farmers. Look at these temperatures though, 15 to 18 degrees Celsius overnight, so quite a warm and humid start to Tuesday. Bit of uncertainty as to how quickly the rain clears away from southern England on Tuesday morning. It might just hang back a little bit longer than the graphics suggest at this stage. Northeastern Scotland will also stay fairly wet, particularly